Hello, everyone. Welcome to Frame Trap. Post-Thanksgiving Frame Trap. Hopefully, you've got full bellies. Hopefully, you're all rested up. You're rejuvenated. You're ready to hear some talk about video games. Joining me on this jovial Frame Trap is Michael Huber.
Hello.
And Bradley Ellis.
Ho, ho, ho. It's
Ho, ho,
Christmas
ho.
time,
It's
y'all.
Christmas time?
It's not December yet.
All right.
Yo, when Thanksgiving's over, it's full steam ahead to Christmas. That's the way it goes.
I feel like I never know when Christmas time is anymore. Sometimes it's happening post-Halloween.
Yeah.
Some people think post-Thanksgiving. Huber's sitting over here in December.
The month of for me, I'm always with my holidays. So December 1st.
Living out here the last 5 years has really thrown me off because I always associate Christmas with snow.
Yeah,
And so that's when it really feels like Christmas. And I don't get that out here.
Nope.
What is it, like 70 degrees?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Some crazy land.
Yeah.
How was your Thanksgiving, guys?
Good. Super chill. Got to hang out with the
Good.
family.
Yeah.
Eat some delicious food. Did a little shopping.
Nice.
It's good stuff.
I did not shop. I don't even think I bought anything on Steam.
This was the
weird
first time.
Yeah, uncharacteristic.
Yeah. I was like, excuse me?
This was the first time in like 7 years I didn't purchase anything. Not by lack of trying. I did go out in the middle of the day
Yesterday?
on the hunt. I was on the hunt for the Ezio collection.
What do you mean you're on the hunt for that?
I was on the hunt, dude. It was $15.
Did you find it?
No.
What?
Couldn't find it, dude. They were like sold
Just
out
buy
everywhere.
it online.
Dude, it was $50 on the PlayStation Store.
No. Check Amazon.
That is
Yeah.
so perfect for you. I feel like for many people that were going out for Black Friday, if they saw the Astro collection, they're like, oh yeah, I might pick that up. You were out there for
Yeah,
I was
that.
hunting for it.
Searching for
That
the
was- it was a-
Ezio collection.
That was your bounty. It was the Exio collection.
What are
It
you gonna
eluded me.
play that, man?
I just wanted to dive in for a sec because Assassin's Creed Odyssey is like actually my favorite Assassin's Creed ever, but I wanted to go back to 2 before I like
a statement.
fully commit to that statement being true to me. Like I think Odyssey is my favorite, but Ezio and the 2 in the trilogy is amazing, so I got to go back for answers.
Yeah. Odyssey is in the worst position for me right now because when I was playing it actively, I was having a great time and I was loving it, but I've spent enough time away that going back kind of feels like
You
its
gotta
own
like
mountain.
either start over
Whereas
or
like with Red Dead Redemption 2, I've just been chipping away here and there, so I've had a foot in it the whole time, which
Totally.
is nice.
Yeah,
But,
that's dangerous.
tell me about the food you guys had on Thanksgiving. That's my favorite part, really. It has become my favorite part.
The classics: the turkey, the stuffing, the mashed
stuffing.
potatoes,
Mashed, yeah.
some mac and cheese. What else was there?
instead of
dude?
mac and cheese, I have like a grilled onion thing.
Man,
Oh yeah, green beans.
I haven't had
beans?
good
Yep,
ass
I've
mac
been
and cheese in a
saying
long time. Brad, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our Thanksgiving is massive. We had 18 people this year.
Nice.
So everyone brings something. So there was like 2 mac and cheeses, like 2 different types.
Was it the big
Yes.
bowls of mac and cheese?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's massive. Had some like pumpkin pie, Huber.
Dude, I had
Pumpkin pie,
banana
pumpkin
and key
pie.
lime.
We had banana cream pie, pumpkin pie, and like pumpkin pie cheesecake or something, dude.
I'm the only dessert that I'm 50-50 on is cheesecake.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'm probably like 70-30 on
It's
it.
the only
Yeah.
one, dude. The only one.
Yo, Oreo cheesecake. Though.
Oreo cheesecake I'll do.
Yeah.
Like Cheesecake Factory for
Yeah.
sure.
I don't know if I've had Oreo cheesecake.
What? You gotta try it.
Yeah, I'm not that much of a dessert person.
Okay,
I'm
neither
not
am
big
I.
on desserts.
Do you
but
like
every
key lime
once in
pie?
a while. I don't think
Key
I've
lime
had.
pie.
I don't
is
think I've had key lime
the
pie.
god tier pie.
Is it?
Yeah, it's my favorite pie.
Brad, I'm taking notes. I'm gonna,
Like I don't like. Mike knows I don't really
Yeah.
care for sweets at all. But
Yeah.
key lime pie is top tier pie.
That's
yeah,
so
every once in
funny.
a while I'll fall down a sweets rabbit hole, but most of the time I'm not into sweets.
I live for him.
Yeah, Mike's addicted.
Yeah.
You ever been to Seas Candy with Mike? It's a scene.
Yeah, it is. Can I get a
scene.
pound, please?
Yeah.
Custom pound. You just you order just a straight pound, and you just get to pick what's in it.
Yeah.
It's like a giant box of chocolate that'll last like 2 days.
Yeah, like that lasts people a lot longer than Mike.
Yeah.
You like solo it.
Yeah.
You're like, just snacking.
Butterscotch squares.
Snacking.
There's definitely certain things that once I get in there, I don't stop. Like, I love Airheads. Just for some
Sure.
reason, I love Airheads. Have those pretty regularly. Starburst is another one. and those hot, sweet and spicy Skittles, man. I love them.
Yeah, you're an
We haven't
addict.
seen those in a while.
Yeah, it's a bummer because I don't go home for Thanksgiving anymore, and so I don't get to load up on mashed potatoes or all the classic stuff. We've developed our own new little tradition.
Ooh.
Yeah, that started out just like, I don't know, we don't have family out here. What do you want to do? And we would go to Sujita and have
nice.
have ramen and
Jolly.
yeah. Now it's become a yearly thing. We really look forward to it. It's this nice, full, delicious meal.
Heck yeah.
So yeah. Do you have a favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Whew.
Thanksgiving's your favorite.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, nice.
Just the vibes, the family vibes, the chill vibes, the football. And like, I'm a baseball guy, but just like football on Thanksgiving is
So it definitely
jolly.
sounds like there's no like political arguments or anything of that. It's just, it's just chill.
My grandma is the only one in our family that has like different political views. So she always tries to keep those conversations like non-existent on the holiday. She's like, let's not talk about that.
People are coming together.
Yeah.
It's about the unity.
Yeah,
That's
she'll bury you though on Thanksgiving, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, on Thanksgiving, my mom was like yelling across the room to like tell my brother to like check the oven or something, like turn the oven off. And I was like, oh, mom, stop yelling. You're yelling in my ear. And my grandma turns to me and she goes, you shouldn't talk to people about speaking loudly.
Oh, crackers. So funny.
Did you pot calling the kettle black or whatever?
I feel like Huber would just laugh at that. Like immediately recognize the truth of it. And
I was like,
laugh.
Grandma,
Yeah.
you just owned me.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know what we're going to do now? We're going to move away from the warm, friendly, familial vibes of Thanksgiving and go in the complete opposite direction by talking about Fallout 76. Brad,
Yes.
you've been playing Fallout 76.
You
have
Done.
since stopped playing Fallout 76.
I did my time.
I've played a good bit of Fallout 76 in different forms and different phases, playing the final release now. I've issued my thoughts here before,
Oh, okay.
but before we get into that,
What's the patch schedule, really quick, for that game? Is it a daily thing?
no,
no
it's
idea.
not daily. No, it's not daily. They did have a big patch earlier this week. It was like
37 gigabytes.
Did you feel the
it's around there.
difference or not?
It was 15. Well, there was a quest that I couldn't compllet that after the patch I could complete,
Yeah.
so that was
okay.
nice.
Good.
But no, I don't know the schedule. Brad, what do you think about Fallout 76?
Let's give you some context here. I like Fallout, but I'm not a huge Fallout fan, I would say.
Yeah.
I've played 3 and 4. I didn't finish 4, I finished 3. I don't like this game
Yeah,
because
I don't like it either.
I mean, the only cool thing is I've been playing with my girlfriend. Like that's the only reason I've been playing this game, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I can only do that for like an hour and a half. Then I get frustrated or bored.
What are you getting frustrated at? What's boring about Fallout 76?
Big mistake right off the bat, playing on a console, a Bethesda game. I've never done that. I'll never do it again because it ran real bad. Like real bad, Ben. Like, I'm talking where it was actively taking me out of it.
Sure.
Where it's just like, like,
my God.
dude, okay, guys would just spawn like out of nowhere, then the game would just like freeze for like 3 seconds, then I'd be almost dead. Just like, why? Why won't this work? Just work normal, please.
Yeah.
Like, it's running at like a cool 25 frames, like at the best.
I can't even
Then
believe
just
this.
die. It just dies, man. Like, I haven't played a game that bad, that runs that bad in so long.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's crazy to me that they would release the game in this state. You know, I haven't played it, but I've seen the internet going nuts, which usually, you know, I take with a grain of salt. I'm like, oh, you know, but it's universal. It's everyone. It's you guys. The only thing I hear about this game is how broken and buggy it is.
That's not even my biggest problem with it. I mean, Brad is completely right, and that is a huge problem.
And just how boring it is. Is that what we're going to get to?
There's really no better word to describe it. Like, yeah, you're saying when you're with friends, and I agree. that it's more fun, but it's more fun in spite of the game rather than because of the game. I feel like
Let me say this: the game even when I'm playing with my girlfriend, the game feels the most alone I've ever felt in a Fallout game.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Does that make sense to you?
And it's kind of a weird thing to say because you talk about the wasteland and there's supposed to be this sense of isolation, this sense of a world destroyed, but it goes way beyond that. I completely agree, Brad. Where like, imagine that. Think of any game, any RPG, and you have quests. Imagine that there's nothing but dots. That there's no characters, there's no story that you care about, there's no motivation. It's just dots. That's what Fallout 76 feels like, where every quest ends up feeling the same, not necessarily because every quest is exactly the same, but because the game can't support any of the ideas that it has, and it doesn't have enough ideas. Like, there's this cool quest, or I thought would be a cool quest, where they were like, oh, hey, go make friends with a Deathclaw. And you're approaching it, and it's isolated, and you're like, oh, man, it's going to jump on top of me. It's going to be cool. Is it going to be friends with me? Is it going to try to kill me? What's going to happen? And then you just get up to it, and you realize that the AI in the game is an absolute mess, and that you fight it the same way you fight absolutely everything, by just kind of awkwardly shooting and backing up. And that's the thing. Everything feels the same. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what it does. Like, yeah, they might be able to disease you. They might be able to irradiate you. They might be able to mutate you. But functionally, the act of shooting something or swinging at something always feels awkward and bad, so it makes every fight feel the same. And because there's no story to get invested in, you're left with these holotapes that are way too long.
Yes.
They're way too long. And so you're like, okay, I'm like kind of interested in what this person has to say, but then you're also like, wait, I can't just focus on this. There are enemies that could come out of nowhere, it seems like. And so you get attacked, and then for some reason your holotape gets interrupted. And so you can't just click on it and resume from where you were. You have to restart the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so it just ends up being such an inconvenience that you find yourself not caring about the story. And so you're just stuck in a world that's like half broken and bland.
Yeah. I have a question for you guys.
No. Yeah.
Good. I have a question for you guys. So we've seen live games evolve. We've seen No Man's Sky kind of out of the gate, like not what people wanted, and now it keeps getting these huge updates.
Right.
Do you think there is a long plan here for Bethesda and Fallout 76? Do you think later down the line they will make some crazy drastic changes? Like all of a sudden a huge patch comes or a world event and it's like civilization. You know? Now people are inhabiting this giant town.
Here's what I'm worried about, Huber. Where the other games that you mentioned, it wasn't that I felt like the game itself couldn't support more ideas. It was that there wasn't enough stuff in there. So like Sea of Thieves, there just wasn't enough in there. With Fallout 76, it feels like it is held together by Scotch tape. And so if they're like, hey, we're going to do this huge, crazy thing, I'm like, will it hold? So I think that's really my biggest concern. I'm not saying that they can't do it or it's impossible, but that would be my concern going into it.
Got it.
For sure.
Got it.
And I think that looseness, like, Huber, I've been reviewing games for a good while now, and I've had crashes, I've had things that, like, didn't make sense, I've had weird glitches happen. In Fallout 76, like, there was a period of like 2 or 3 days, just multiple times trying to do multiple quests, but they just didn't work. This didn't work.
That's
I ran into 3 quests.
Dude, that's the most frustrating thing of all time in a video game for me.
Yeah,
Number
it
one.
is.
Number one. You're like midway through a quest, you're doing it, and it's just like broken.
It's like,
Sorry.
well, guess I got to find something else to do, kind of. And I hate it because I think the wasteland itself is kind of the most interesting thing for me because I like the location of it. But, like, there's a water park, Huber, and I was bored. Like, that shouldn't happen to me, man. When there's an abandoned water park. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, dude.
Fear the Walking Dead.
But it wasn't fun, because there's just ghouls that spawn constantly. I can't, like, explore anything when there's just dudes popping up all the time, hitting me in the back, man.
Yeah.
Like, let me explore this environment, have fun digging through stuff, but I can't.
Has there been any great moments?
Great moments.
Anything great?
I honestly think that there is nothing that I would describe as great. there have been moments
good?
that have been better than others. There are times I think where you're going and it's like fall colored leaves and you're listening to Country Roads and you just kind of are like, this is peaceful. Yeah. So like the radio is nice, and the building is okay. Like in terms of function, in terms of like what you end up doing with it, that's a whole nother thing. But in terms of building stuff, it works okay, and you can get kind of interested in that, where you're like, oh, I want to piece this together, I want to make a little house. That's okay. Not great.
Oh my
Would
God.
not say anything is great. Yeah, man.
Like you're just like the shooting feels real bad too.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because I'm playing
No,
on
the shooting
console.
feels awful.
Okay.
It feels awful.
It's just like it's not fun, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm like the VATS isn't as fun anymore. It's like I have to use the VATS because I can't hit something sometimes. Cause
Right.
when it gets like in a weird certain dead zone or something, especially like small enemies are so weird to hit.
Yeah.
When they like stutter too. Here when you aim on it goes. Bleh, 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 bleh. It's just like come on, dude.
You know how in a good game where you're shooting, you just kind of find that rhythm, and you get into encounters where you're able to like employ strategy and cleverly pick things off. Fallout 76 feels like an awkward school dance every time. And I
Yeah.
get that people are going to argue like, oh, it's an RPG, but there's not enough RPG in it to make like your decisions matter in a meaningful way in combat, and so it just ends up feeling like bad melee combat, bad shooting, with not enough to differentiate it from anything else in a positive way. The perk cards are okay, I will say.
Yeah, the perk cards are all right. But I couldn't I don't think I got one with lock picking or anything like that. So if you don't get the cards, you can't get the ability, right? Because I wanted one for lock picking, but I don't think I had one. So I was like, well, guess we're not picking any locks because I didn't get one.
Right. Well,
Probably
you can
find
when you
it,
level
maybe?
up. When you level up, you can
When you
choose
level-
lock picking. There's also a chance every so often you get a card pack, and that might have a skill card that you're.
Because I
interested
had
in.
one for hacking, but I didn't see one for lock picking.
There is one for lock picking.
No,
yeah.
but I didn't get it. Is what I'm saying.
Sure.
And it's like I want lock picking, but I didn't get the card.
Yeah, Brad, having picked some locks, I've never found anything where I'm like, oh man, I needed this over everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, the cards are interesting. I still prefer the older method usually of how they used to do it, but
Right.
it's a fine experiment. It's
Sure.
fun. It's not like anything I hate or anything.
Does this make you concerned for the next Fallout, or it's so far removed from
It's so far away.
like 3 and 4, and they got Starfield and Skyrim coming? Like the next single player Fallout game is
It
probably
makes
years and
me
years away.
worried for Sky or Elder Scrolls, just from a pure technical standpoint of the game. Like, is this something they're going to continue to do? Like, Bethesda games are known for not like running great and being buggy, but this feels like one of the worst, like the worst one I could recall.
Yeah, what's crazy too is that it's we're kind of at the end of the generation here, so
Yeah.
to speak. You'd think that their games and their engines and everything would be ironed out and smooth this late in a console's life, right? You would expect maybe like the earlier games to on new technology, new hardware to maybe
Yeah, I guess.
like, oh, we're kind of figuring out these new tools, and it's like, dude, you've been plugging away on this for so long.
Yeah. I think the thing for me, and this was true in Fallout 4 and is true of all the Bethesda games that I've enjoyed a lot, is in spite of whatever technical problems that there was a sense of wonder, and there was a sense of like, oh man, I can't wait to come into Brandon's garage and tell them like, hey, go to this spot, you'll find something really cool. I wanted that to exist in Fallout 76, and there are hints of that, which I have mentioned before on this podcast, but there's really nothing. There's nothing. It doesn't exist in the way that it needs to in order to have you put up with all of the other bullshit
it's
that you
not
have to put
enticing
up with.
enough
Yeah.
to like make you want to explore. It feels like.
Right. There's imagine playing a game where there's nothing to latch onto. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
There's nothing to latch onto mechanically, narratively.
Yeah, the nuke novelty is kind
I
of
haven't
overall.
seen one
right?
So I've not launched a nuke,
Yeah.
but somebody launched a nuke in my game, and it wasn't even that big of an area. I was like, the game came up and it was like, "Hey man, countdown to nuke." I was like, "Okay, I'll go over here and I'll see." I didn't even see it which might have just been bad positioning, admittedly, but it was like it wasn't even that big of an area.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that cool.
Should be like a fourth of the map, you know, if we're really
I don't
hyping
know.
these things up.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's really weird. There's like a conflict of interest in this game, you know, because it's like you're in this wasteland, but like PvP is pretty much off unless you both initiate. So then the environment doesn't really feel hostile.
Hubert,
but then players are going for nukes, but then what, like...
PvP is a mess.
Yeah.
It is an absolute mess.
It's this weird...
It's not fun to engage in. There's not a good reward. They can respawn immediately. So it kind of like takes away from the satisfaction of your kill. And I think that kind of speaks to the general overwhelming problem of this game is like, what was the objective here?
Yeah.
What was your goal? It's like, instead of being like, we really want to do this with PvP or we really want to do this with multiplayer, it was like, let's take what we've already had and slap these things in there with no like grand direction for what they were going to do. And
it's a prequel to it all?
Yeah, it's a prequel.
Do we know the year of it or a timeline?
Do
we have any
2076?
Do we have any like theories on when this can sync up to other games?
I can look.
If there's going to be
2076 sounds
some crazy events.
I think
maybe
it's like
too early.
some, or 2176 maybe.
I don't care enough to dig into it. Like I wish I could come in and be like, oh man, this is a great thing that made me more interested in like
I'm reaching
if anything this has repelled me from Fallout rather than attracted me to Fallout. And I feel like you never want a game to
And
do
you're a
that.
big Fallout fan, man.
I enjoy Fallout. Yeah, I enjoyed Fallout 4. I loved New Vegas. I enjoyed Fallout 3. Especially at the time that they came out. Like I've spent a lot of time with Fallout. I'm not the biggest, most experty person on Fallout.
But you enjoy the games.
Yeah,
a lot.
I've been attached to those. You announce a new Fallout game, I get excited. Like there's yeah, absolutely. So it's a narrative prequel. It's set in an alternate history and takes place in 2102.
Nice.
25 years after a nuclear war that devastated the Earth.
After a nuclear war. Got it.
I do kind of feel like, in a way, Hubert, that I don't know, but I have a sense that maybe Fallout 76 will have sort of a Grimoire card situation where, like, there are people that are super enjoying this, and that's great. You know, don't let anyone stop you from enjoying a game. But I imagine, you know, there is stuff to find, or there are tidbits of lore that could be cool. But for me, much like it was with the original Destiny, like that stuff is not just exciting on its own. You have to create an atmosphere where that stuff comes to life. Otherwise, you're just reading a Wikipedia entry.
Totally.
Like, think about the games that you've fallen in love with. It's because they're fun to play. It's because they seem mysterious. This, at every single turn, slaps you in the face and makes you realize that it's a shitty video game. It doesn't feel like a world. It feels like a bunch of cobbled together broken ass shit. Like it's it's a mess.
It's crazy.
It's astounding how much of a mess it is. Like there are times where Abby will be sitting on the bed and I'm playing, and the only thing I can say is like I can't believe this happened.
Yeah. For such a huge company.
Yeah.
To release it in this state is pretty shocking.
Yeah, game's not ready.
Yeah.
Should have waited a while.
Should have waited.
I don't know. Like you were talking about them adding a bunch of stuff or them waiting. Even if this was like polished to a shine, I don't know if it would be a good game.
Right, but at least it wouldn't be like complete like it wouldn't feel as broken at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it would work maybe.
Yeah, and that's frustrating, you know, that like if it's a bad game and it's broken, that like double blow. It's the worst.
Like I'm getting like constantly getting which is some of my Dark Souls zone. Blighttown, yeah. Constantly just getting like vibes like that. I'm just like
oh my god.
I'm just like, dude, come on, man.
I wonder how the Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield are going to feel. And people have, because of the response to Fallout 76, people have been saying like how they're worried about those new games. And I'm not quite ready to be like, oh yeah, we should definitely be super worried. This might just hopefully be a weird online sidestep.
If we could see video game budgets, it would really help. Because on paper, this looks like a spin-off.
Yeah.
Modest budget.
Yeah.
Compared to the new Elder Scrolls, which is going to be ridiculous. Smell the money.
Yeah.
But
it's just like
I would love to see.
I think people are totally fair in being worried about it.
Definitely.
I mean, how can you not be after seeing this? Bethesda games have problems, but it's this is a crazy amount. I've never seen anything like this from their games. This is insane how bad this game operates.
Yeah.
Those games are far away. Starfield and Elder Scrolls are probably years away still. Mm-hmm. But I hope Bethesda looks at this and hey, we can't release a game like this again.
Sure.
You hope.
I hope. Yeah.
This is a pretty. I've seen people express this before, but this is absolutely how I felt playing Morrowind, playing Oblivion, playing Skyrim, where it was these games have some problems. They're weird. They're awkward at times, but you can't play anything else like this. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like that is as true anymore, where the kind of the scope of Bethesda games, and it's not fair talking about Skyrim, right, which is 7 years old at this point.
Right.
But that would be a concern I'd have going into these new games, is it's I don't know if scope or amount of stuff to do is going to be as enticing. It's really going to be about the quality of those things, the writing, the characters, the way that you surprise us. And I just feel like there are other games doing it better.
Yeah, me too.
More often, more quickly, less broken. And so, I don't know. We'll have to see. Let's pick it up a little bit.
Pick it up.
We trashed on Fallout 76. Let's talk about something that Huber is very into. Was talking about that I have no frame of reference for. The Spider-Man DLC. Turf Wars.
Turf War, dude, really quick. Mm-hmm. I thought the first DLC, The Heist, was just okay.
Mm-hmm.
In what way?
Just okay. It was more the same, just more Spider-Man. The plot very much felt like a premise.
Yeah.
It's all right, we're going to set some stuff up.
To me, that sounds like as basic as you could make story-driven DLC.
Exactly. It was that.
Yeah.
It was that. This one, though, super into because it's got mafia vibes, dude.
That's why you like
exactly. So it's all about the magia and Hammerhead, all about the mafia. It's just that's what it is. You're just fighting mob dudes, taking them down.
Wait, weren't you doing that in the first one though too?
They were the enemy, but this one is even more so because you're attacking their bases and stuff and going in. You see poker tables set up and bodies on the poker table with chips everywhere, just cool imagery. But what really sets it apart is the combat, because they added one new enemy type, and this one enemy shakes up combat so hard. It's this shield dude, right? So you need to go underneath him like a normal shield dude, except he charges with this red electricity field that leaves kind of a trail on the ground, and if you step in that, it damages you heavily.
Yeah.
If he hits you, it does a ton of damage, and it's pretty hard to telegraph because he'll charge and then charge again and then sometimes again. So he's kind of they get kind of weird with their charges. And that is really the focus of this DLC is combat. I died multiple times on some of these gang hideouts. There's gang hideouts. They throw every single type of enemy at you in bulk. So you got the whip dudes, the shield guys, guns, all over the place. It was just harder to cheese. Couldn't do Web Blossom, mow everyone down. Yeah, and that's it.
That's really encouraging to hear because I do feel like at the end of Spider-Man, you kind of got to a point where fights were feeling very similar. Yeah. Still good, still enjoyable, but them expanding it and making it more intense, that really excites me and is a big motivator to go along with it.
Totally.
How is because this is part 2 of 3, right?
Yeah.
How does it pick up where we left off? What is it set up for? Is all of that stuff interesting?
Picks up pretty much right when the first part ends, and then really sets the stage for a
third act,
for a finale. So
Cool.
Yeah, just briefly wanted to talk about the combat in it.
That's
Just
good.
How cool it is.
Brendan mentioned that it was very, very short. Did you feel like it was too short? I felt
I felt like it was the same length. It was a couple hours,
sure.
which is to me is good for like a $10 DLC.
Yeah, because sometimes I feel like DLC can
When he
awkwardly
said-
try to find the right length.
When he said short, I was anticipating like 45 minutes.
I see.
And it took me like at least 2 hours.
Okay.
So
And that felt good to you? You felt satisfied? You walked away? You were super
Totally.
happy? Cool.
totally,
Um,
I recommend it.
does it... Are you... Is there new stuff that they're setting up for part 3 that has you particularly excited? Also, how is Black Cat?
Black Hat's cool. Black
Okay.
Hat's a cool character. Yeah, Black Hat rules, and I really like Screwball, the like internet.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah,
her.
that's
I hate
why
her, dude.
she's so good.
Right. I thought her...
No,
yes,
I
I
know
thought she was great.
I know
Hilarious.
she's trying to annoy you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like it's too annoying for me. Where I just like actively don't want to listen to her.
Yep.
Brett, I wish you could respond to Screwball
Yeah.
in the game.
Just like stop,
yeah.
please.
Ultimate Brad, shutting it down.
Yeah.
Stop.
Screwball,
Like
dude.
great job at annoying me, but
Yeah.
it's too annoying.
Love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Spider-Man DLC.
Spider-Man DLC, dude, intense combat, man. Like it felt like some of those Arkham Knight combat challenges, dude.
Yeah.
Like some of these hideouts were insane.
That's
I died
good.
like 5 times on one when it's just like nonstop enemies coming at you, like the damn whip guys, dude. You gotta like throw things at them, but then you got shield dudes charging you. Like
That's good.
really, really had to zone in. Which I hadn't done in a while in Spider-Man because like a fourth of the way through the game, it's like, all right, just mowing everyone down, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I wouldn't even say fourth way. You get Web Blossom like
Yeah.
right off the
Yeah,
bat.
Web
and then
Blossom
just
OP.
destroys
That
everything.
DLC, puffing up games as we approach Game of the Year, always
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
Always good.
Totally.
Adding to the value.
Absolutely.
totally.
I want to spend a little bit of time. I don't know if either of you have played it actually. Talking about a hole I fell into called Pokemon Let's Go.
I can't do it, man.
You can't do it.
Too much on my plate already.
Yeah,
man.
I have it downloaded.
Like
I just haven't started it.
I was close to buying it yesterday.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, but I was like, I can't do it. I got
Brad-
too much to play already.
Brad, I can't overstate how good of a time I've had.
Yeah,
with
that's
Pokemon
awesome.
Let's Go Eevee.
Then we're just like, oh, I want to beat Valkyria Chronicles still, though.
Sure.
I'm like halfway through that
absolutely,
game.
absolutely. To talk about Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. So I completed
You
it.
beat Pokemon.
Yeah, I still got to do some Master Trainer stuff.
okay.
There's a battle I want to unlock.
Master Band.
Post-game.
Yeah.
Did the Elite Four, caught Mewtwo.
Post-game
Did
Pokemon.
the thing that happens immediately after the Mewtwo, which is so good. Completed the Pokedex. Well, okay, I don't have the evolved form of Meltan, but did the
But you got the
151.
Mew?
Got the Mew. Got the Mewtwo.
From the ball?
151,
Or
yep.
the- what do you think about that, actually, real quick?
I think it's really lame. I mean, I did it, so keep
Yeah, of course.
keep that in mind.
Of course.
But yeah, I think having Mew in the Pokeball is really lame because to me, Mew really felt mythical. It really felt mysterious. It was not easy to get. You know, it wasn't something that you would go and you talk to your friends and be like, oh yeah, I've got Mew. Do you want one? It wasn't like that. It felt really, really special. And this is just something that you forget you have after you put it in your game a few hours later.
Dang.
And so I wish they maybe could have done justice a little bit more to that original
Sure.
sense. But, you know, beyond that, I really have a bunch of positive things to say about the game. It, all of the things, not all of the things, but some of the things that I was worried about or that it would take away, ended up not being that big of a problem. I was worried about no wild battles, but there are so many trainers that you fight. You definitely get your fill of combat. I don't
Okay.
think lack of combat is a problem in Pokemon Let's Go, and I do think they have other things that kind of circumvent this lack of wild battles, where the more you catch the same type of Pokemon, you'll build up a combo and you'll get a better chance for shinies or a better chance for rare spawns. That's pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting to go in hunting for something, see that number go up, and then to have it finally spawn. Being able to not only pop every Pokemon out of the Pokeball, but to ride so many of them, and not just rides. I mean, there are some problems with the animations for sure, but I really do feel like there's a lot of moments where Game Freak took an extra step to make it special, to make it feel cool. When you are on Snorlax's belly,
Yeah.
they didn't have to do
good
that.
stuff.
That's really cool. That's really charming. That speaks to the identity of that character. And just a lot of the story stuff. The way they re-envisioned some of the gyms, like Blaine's gym, where you take the quiz, how theatrical that is, how much fun it is, how zany it feels. It's really, really cool. And so it's not just this like straight revisitation of Gen 1. It's not just this straight revisitation of Kanto. It is this really hyper jolly, like pumping up of Kanto in a lot of ways. And I think if you care about that generation, or that was a big part of your childhood like it was for me, it's fun to see them touch things up or add new twists that make sense, and I would argue don't ruin it at all.
Nice.
People have definitely talked about the difficulty, and I think that is a fair point to bring up. Your partner Pokemon especially can be so powerful that you blow through things. I would argue that even if you're not using your partner Pokemon, it's pretty easy to just blow through things. But it ends up not mattering to me all that much. I get maybe that if you're just an absolute diehard Pokemon and you play through every generation immediately and you've been doing this for years, that might be more of an issue for you, and I think that's totally fair. But for me, we were talking about Fallout 76, right? And my thing for Fallout 76 is like, yeah, you can complain about all this Bethesda stuff, but usually there's a world there, there's a story there to kind of fill in for those things that are underdeveloped. There was so much going on that it was just a pleasure to walk through, a pleasure to see. There were surprises that, like, I didn't mind that it was easy. Yeah. I still think it was a highly entertaining time. I actually kind of said the same thing about Dragon Quest XI, where I felt like there was so much going on and there was enough creativity present that the difficulty on the default setting wasn't too big of a deal. There are Master Trainer battles, which after you beat the game, there's a trainer for every single Pokemon. And what you do is it's not a normal Pokemon battle. It is one-on-one versus that exact Pokemon. So let's say you go to the Caterpie Master. You have to use a Caterpie one-on-one against their Caterpie. So you're going to have to like level things up. You're going to have to develop a strategy to get through these things. But the reward you get for beating 6 of them, I think, is pretty cool. And again, like, they're taking extra steps that they didn't need to take. But yeah, it was cool.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It ended up being... It ended up being a lot more charming than I thought it would be, and B, it ended up being a lot more substantive than I expected.
Cool, yeah. It looked pretty... When we first saw it, looked pretty shallow at first.
Yeah.
It definitely looks better than I expected, I'll say that. I just can't get in the way of like how you catch them in that game. Like, I like the battle part when you like...
Yeah.
Like, it's not even the random encounter aspect of like, I'm fine with them being on the map. That's cool or whatever, but I don't enjoy the throwing the Pokeball, I guess.
Right.
That I know it's like it's supposed to connect with Pokemon Go. It makes total sense, but the good thing is they're just making the real deal game for me still.
I think the thing that worked for me with Pokemon Let's Go is the more I played it, the more it really felt like its own thing. That it was charting its own path. I agree with you that catching them can really suck, especially as you get later on and the Pokemon get more fidgety and a little bit more aggressive. And they're not really just standing there waiting for you to catch them. The motion controls just do not hold up to that, and it ends up being an aggravating experience where you'll feel like you're holding the controller the exact same way, you're throwing it the exact same way, you swear that you are, and it just shoots off to the left or right. And it's like, what? No, that just wasted a ball. That feels bad. Playing in handheld mode, though,
Yeah,
really alleviates that a lot, and that would be the way that I would recommend people go through it. It's more enjoyable that way, or at least it was a lot more enjoyable for me. But still, that's a super valid criticism with like one of the major ways of controlling this game, I think, doesn't hold up in the long run. At least it didn't for me. I will say, though, after last night a little bit, I started Pokemon White. I thought it was Pokemon Black, but it was Pokemon White. I started. Yeah, no, I want to be in a Pokemon hole. I started Pokemon White. I thought it was Pokemon Black, but it was Pokemon White a while ago, a few months ago. And I was in an area, and I felt a stress that I never had in Let's Go, where I was running out of moves. Things were actually damaging me. It was a lot harder to level up. Every random encounter was an important decision of, do I want to get through this to get the experience? Do I want to catch this? Do I just want to move on to save on PP and health? And it felt like a whole nother layer of strategy that just is not present in Let's Go. And so I think if you're like, oh man, I really need that kind of Pokemon, you're not going to get it. But I think it's a good if you're lapsed. If you're a lapsed Pokemon person, it's an easy way to get reattached to this world. And I think that's really important. And it's also low barrier, low stress. And I really advocate games like that.
The appealing part to it.
That's
to us, at least right now.
Yeah. Like the last many years, my biggest criticism of Pokemon has been how easy it is. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, it's just so easy. Like, because it's so easy, it makes the act of catching the Pokemon not seem as meaningful for me. Mm-hmm. I'm a leaf on the wind. Mm-hmm. I change moods all the time.
True. Yeah.
And right now I'm in a mood for no stress.
Yeah.
So the ease of Pokemon is actually appealing right now. So I just haven't installed. I just haven't played it yet.
It's appealing to me, but I feel like for me, I would be into it. But then like 4 or 5 hours in, then I might get a little bored. I don't know.
How long is it?
So it's a little hard for me to say. I think my save file ended up being around 40 hours, and I did the decks.
You did a ton of stuff.
Yeah, I think if you're crit pathing it, you can be
25.
Much shorter than that. But I also dumped a good number of Pokemon from Pokemon Go into Game as
How does that work? Does it work well?
It works. It works well in the sense that it works and it's not really a hassle. But
does anything feel cheesy with it, or?
Oh yeah, when I dumped a bunch of Pokemon in and my deck shot up by like 40 or whatever it was like didn't really feel like I earned that in the same way.
Wait, so with Mew though, Mew is only in the ball.
You can only get Mew from the Pokemon.
Is that the only way you can complete the Pokedex?
Yes. So even if you have,
so you can buy this game for $60 digitally.
And not get Mew.
And you cannot finish the Pokedex? You can't beat the game? Because to a lot of people, that's beating the game.
I don't know, because I started it with Mew. I don't know if it'll just count 150 for the rewards, because if you do complete the Dex, you can get a Shiny Charm, which makes it easier to catch Shiny Pokemon.
Ooh, Shiny Charm.
And if you have... So you got that Mew. You can't trade it, because then yours would be gone?
No, I think you can trade it.
Like, I mean, if you
that wouldn't make sense.
If you have one, it doesn't like duplicate it to give to someone, right? It's like you're physically giving your Mew to someone.
Yes, when you do that with trading, you are giving away your thing.
Yeah.
But if you have a ball, you could share with a friend, right? And they'll get Mew also.
No, once you
it's
redeem,
like one per. Yeah.
Oh my, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah. I believe. I'm a little bit.
That's DLC.
That's some
baby.
like drug deal tactics, dude. Straight up.
On everything that we're talking about
here.
on Mew, I'm not confident on it. I didn't try to like see how far this thing went.
Got it.
I wasn't really thinking about it that way.
So this could let us know.
Yeah, this could all be wrong.
How much is the ball?
$50? Yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
What?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 15 or 20 at most.
I was thinking 30 at most.
I wouldn't have that much of a problem with the price, but it does feel like shoving Mew behind it is a really dumb
Like
thing.
I would be even
like I was in even without Mew. I just wanted the Pokeball.
Yeah, because it's like the whole experience.
Yeah.
That's what they're selling.
Right.
Yeah,
And I think it could have just been fine on its own. I mean, maybe Mew pushed it over the edge. I'm sure it did for a lot of people. Maybe it did even for me. But I liked the idea of a Pokeball. It felt like a fun, cute thing for people who really wanted it, who weren't bothered by the price.
For sure.
Right. And then this whole other layer just makes it feel gross and really sleazy to me.
Yeah. If it was just 50 and it was just for the motion, like that's fine. You know, you want to RP it. Right. That's cool.
I hope,
but like the only way to finish the deck, dude.
I really hope there's a way you could just share Mew with that ball.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Or
man.
like, let me find like a wild Mew somewhere. What's the story? Like he crash lands or something, or is that Mewtwo? I don't know.
I don't know, dude. Yeah,
Never
we don't
mind.
know anything.
Yeah,
me, Mike are not experts at all.
No,
but yeah, well. The Mew thing, I think, is an easy and justifiable thing to get hung up on and to talk about. Like,
But you're having
really,
fun, man.
the
Whatever.
simplest thing is, I was on the Easy Allies podcast. I was like, I am not looking forward to Pokemon Let's Go at all. Like, do they really need to make Pokemon simpler?
It was like last on our desire index.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. I just felt it would be a more hollow experience than I was expecting, and this was a game that like you. My girlfriend had to come up to me and she'd be like, "Do you want to eat?" Like I really was just so sucked into it for days, and I would be, I'd be excited to wake up and play it. I'd be excited to get home and play it. Like it really just had this magic to it that you want Pokemon to have, that you remember Pokemon having, and that may not be true for everyone, but it's definitely true for me.
I'm pleased everyone's enjoying the game though.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Gen 8 though, like
Gen 8.
Yeah,
I was,
that's the real deal,
Gen 8.
man.
yeah.
Those
I mean,
starters better be good. That's all I'm saying.
I was interested before, but
Bring
this
your A game.
definitely,
Like,
whetted
need
the
some
appetite.
a mono art design on those Pokemon or something. Like, this better be the god
Need to
tier.
know more a guest
I really
Pokemon,
like
dude.
the design of a Alolan Pokemon. Not
Oh,
just
I
Alolan
thought the
forms.
last ones were cool.
Yeah, yeah. The Alolan Pokemon themselves. All right. Huber, talk to me about Battlefield 5.
Dude, Battlefield 5. Good.
Good.
So good.
Good.
Loving it.
Huber, you
Zug.
and I played together not
Yes.
that long ago, like a week ago, and
Yeah.
we had I had a blast.
Oh,
I don't want to
yeah.
speak for you,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I had a really good time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The damn pilot.
Yeah.
There was this enemy pilot
Yeah.
to set the tone. Ben and I are playing, and we're doing my favorite map, which is like Aramis or whatever. I don't know how to say it. But we're doing my favorite map, and it has the church bell tower. And I'm like, Ben, I'm only going for the bell tower. So I like keep trying to get on this bell tower, and I'm up there, and this plane goes by, and it just keeps like peppering the building, like blows me up. You know, I get back up there again. Finally, the plane just like blows up the entire bell tower.
And other people, and myself included, trying to get in planes, trying to
Yeah.
fight this guy. No chance.
No chance.
Professional.
Ace of the skies,
Ace
man.
of the skies. So like 10 minutes later, he gets me again or whatever. He just like keeps getting me every once in a while. 10 minutes later, like I haven't heard anything from Ben for a minute, and he goes, "Somebody get this pilot!" Like, somebody.
So funny.
Guy just flag. And then I played the other day, dude, and it was so funny because one of my squad mates just like types in chat. He's like, "We have the skies," and he's like flying around.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that'll lead me into the conversation. Just, well, I guess we'll start off with vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And the way Battlefield 5 has handled vehicles this time around. A lot less of them. A lot less of them because they're, you know, my perception is that their intention is to have less, but have them be more impactful.
Right.
So every time a tank shows up, holy crap, get out of Dodge. Anytime a plane comes, you know, they have the chance to just wreck the map.
Right. And in my experience, that's been pretty true. I feel like so many matches that I've played, a tank is just dominating a point.
Yeah.
Really, really hard. And good people who know how to approach can really just swing entire matches. And that's cool. You want that. You want that use and that skill to be rewarded.
Yeah, because some of the best ways to destroy a tank, obviously, are the rocket launcher, which is now tied to assault. But ammo is an issue, so you only get like 2 rockets, and then you got to refill. 2 rockets to like the back of the tank usually will not take it out. And then if you hit it on the side sometimes, it can like ricochet the rocket. It'll do like barely any damage. It'll kind of like deflect off the armor. So yeah, taking out a tank is kind of an issue. But at the same time, you know, it's a team-based game. I've seen a tank roll up and then just like 4 or 5 guys like done, like tank destroyed. So yeah, there's just a lot less vehicles, and there's definitely more of a focus on infantry, and squads and teammates. It is very much all about, you know, Battlefield's always been about teamwork, but this time especially, squads are so important because you get bonus points by helping your squad. Even if you're not a medic, you can revive squad mates, so you can just keep picking each other up, you know. That's been really beneficial. and calling in like requisition orders too.
Yeah.
You're the squad leader. You can set objectives depending on how well your squad is doing. You can call in vehicle reinforcements. I think that stuff needs some tuning and balancing.
Sure.
How long it takes. I'll go an entire match pretty much as a squad leader and call in one tank.
It can be really hard when you're like crushingly behind, and getting that would really help you.
Yeah.
But because the other team has such a control, you don't get that, which makes sense. They want to reward you for doing well and doing objectives, but sometimes I wish there were better ways of gauging you doing well on a losing team.
Totally.
If you know what I mean.
Yep.
Huber.
Yeah.
The last time we talked about Battlefield 5, you said how every class has a purpose.
Yes.
And that wasn't something that I had felt until playing more of it and then playing with you, how much I enjoy being every single class, and how useful all of them feel. And it was a great situation where I would be somebody like an assault or a recon, and I wish I had something from the other classes. And the way that they've tuned health, the way that they've limited ammunition, really makes you want to have those support classes. The spotting from the recon, which more people need to do,
I know,
is really valuable in the right situation. And so, just to emphasize your point, I think you were really right about that.
One of my favorite things this franchise has done was add suppression. I think that was Battlefield 3 or 4 added suppression.
I think suppression was 3.
Yeah,
it might have been 4, but I think it was 3. Yeah,
with the heavy machine gun, and just I can't stress enough, because there's spotting has been so reduced because it's recon now. I can't stress enough how important it is to or how beneficial, I'd say, not important, but beneficial it is to hunker down in a spot. I am obsessed with the MG34 bipod, lying down or setting this thing up in a window with a bipod and just mowing down anyone who gets in my path.
We had this wonderful moment where Huber and I were together. I was just behind him. I was a recon. And you were support with an LMG, and you were just bunker down.
Yeah.
And we were on this little swamp island.
Yeah.
And I would be spotting them.
Yeah.
He'd be firing, and then I'd be trying to pick off as many as I could with the sniper. We just were raking up points.
So many, there's tanks
great.
everywhere. It's
And I think this vibe, you opening up the Battlefield conversation, talking about the plane, and then going into us hunkering down. When I think of Battlefield, those are the kind of stories that I want to come along with, where it's oh man, this felt so cool and unique to me, even though it totally isn't. That's what you want it to inspire, and I feel like Battlefield 5 has done that.
Yes, and relying on your teammates can be kind of a frustrating thing too if you're playing with strangers, right? And
Please
I was
play with friends if you can.
Yeah, and I was thinking about Call of Duty. I played some Call of Duty over the break as well, and I love Black Ops 4. It's definitely one of the better Call of Duty games. And, same thing. Diving into a match, running and gunning. You're on your own.
Right.
Your teammates could be there or not be there. It really wouldn't change much. They've added specializations and all that. But anyway, having to rely on your teammate, I can see. Because Call of Duty, I'm basically trying to say Call of Duty, I can just dive in, get some kills, have a good time on my own. But it's super frustrating in Battlefield, bleeding out, calling for a squad mate right there. No one's around. No one's even shooting around here. He looks at my corpse and just walks off. It's dude, just pick me up. I'm right here, dude. Or one of the allies told me a really good note though was when you're not squad leader, if you request an order from your squad and they don't give one, you'll be promoted to squad leader in 60 seconds. Just little things like that.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it's really nice, because I take that stuff super seriously of attack this, defend this.
Yeah, I think that's super valuable.
When I first got access to the full version of Battlefield 5 through EA Premiere or whatever it was, I went into a match, and some guy was frustrated with the team, and I remember somebody typing in the chat, "Don't really care about winning right now, just trying to level up recon." And that's what he said. That's what he said. And obviously, maybe that's not true for everybody. It's easy to generalize. But I've definitely been in many matches when it's just me playing.
Yeah.
Where it's Yep.
Bam.
There's that squad of people
Yeah.
just hanging out with the sniper rifles, not contributing, not really even playing the game.
Well, that's crazy too because I had an incident like that on my own, but I was sacrificing leveling up for the win. Okay, and I go back to hunkering down with a heavy machine gun. Right? There's a control point in the center of town. And there's this one building kind of off to the corner with a window of the courtyard, but it's not in the capture zone. So I went in and I just hunkered down in that building while my team went in to capture it. I didn't get any of those points. I didn't get the capture, but I had covering fire from this window. So I made an active choice for the team.
Right.
And I wonder if that's like by design, you know, if there's just something there of like, you know, do I try to help the team win or do I go for the points?
It'd be
like
cool
how
if it
much
gave you like an assist point or something like that for helping defend.
Yeah.
Like it should like something in the game where it realizes like you're defending your team or looking over this. I don't know if you could even do that, but something like that would be nice.
On a certain level, though, and this sounds super cynical, I suppose, but I think when I'm playing Battlefield by myself, I just kind of accept that I'm going to have less of a good time.
Yeah.
Because people are just going to do things that don't make sense. Like, if you're going to do that, right? If that's your focus, there is team deathmatch.
Yeah.
Like, why not just do that?
Totally.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
If you just want to kill people, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's fun too.
Yeah. I think because in team deathmatch, sniper is not as good because it's more running and gunning. So when people play solo, you know, traditionally in Battlefield, anytime I wasn't playing with Brad, that would be my time to snipe.
Yeah.
Because you're lone wolfing, you're lying in a bush for minutes at a time. Why not? You know, I'm playing on my own, let's just snipe. But I think adding the spotting to recon was one of the best choices they ever made.
Yeah.
Because that is like, yo, this is a team move. This is one of the most team moves in the game for the lone wolf class. Which is really good.
I want to talk a little bit about the maps. And I don't think I've can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, like, oh man, these maps are amazing. But I've definitely had some great moments. I don't remember any of the names of the maps, but
the names are tough.
The giant bridge where basically
Twisted Steel.
The entire thing takes place in the bridge.
Dude.
That was really an incredible experience for me.
Because there's the 2 bridge points.
Yeah.
That's why it's amazing, because there's one at the base and one at the top. So it's this constant struggle.
It's like a King of the Hill thing.
Yeah, and then there's like this huge open ground underneath. No point there, but
and so
a
you
lot
kind
of
of have the best of both worlds, I feel like, where you have this slow-moving, brutal war of attrition going on this bridge, but then you also have space underneath to try to sneak around, try to do something cool. There are points on the bridge where you can try to pop in and catch people off guard. And so it's not just this one thing going on, it's all of these other things supporting this kind of one big idea that I love. Yeah.
Love that map. Love the city, like Armas or whatever.
Is it
the
one
field?
with
the yellow field.
Yeah, that one's
the one with the bell tower.
The best
that one's
map.
great.
Yeah, that's one of my best favorite of all
That
time.
one's great. That one's great.
A criticism I have is the fortifications. Completely useless. I'm telling you right now. I've played this game over 20 hours, and fortifications have come in
there's
handy.
really no time when you're like trying to defend a point or anything? Okay.
One time it helped. Like a couple soldiers were coming, and I built sandbags to hide behind. That happened one time.
I had this awkward moment where I was getting shot at, and I threw down some fortifications, and I managed to live.
Okay.
So that felt okay. I don't know if that's a ringing endorsement of fortifications.
Yeah, it just seems...
Well, there's like ammo crates, right? You could fix or something, if I remember correctly.
you can. And that, you know, they tweaked the ammo in the beta. Everyone was running out of ammo. They tweaked it the other way.
I played at E3, ran out of ammo real fast.
Now I don't run out of ammo.
Okay.
So they completely tweaked it the other way. People were
too far.
Everyone was complaining about the ammo.
Oh.
So now they're just like, Like, I mean, you can't unlimited fire. Like, I guess that's where it is now, where you can't just constantly unlimited fire spray. Oh, someone's over there. Let me just spray there. It's like, no, I at least need to wait until I have a target to shoot.
Okay.
I do feel like in comparison to Battlefield 1, and again, I'm like fighting against my memories of Battlefield 1 rather than recent hands-on experience, but I do feel like the shooting feels better. I'm enjoying getting into both close and long-range firefights more than I did in Battlefield 1.
Yeah. heavy machine guns are amazing because depending on which you choose, you really have to hunker down. There are some ones that are good with aiming down the sights, but then they're not as good as stationary. I feel like machine guns
submachine guns?
and submachine guns and assault rifles are just amazing at medium range. Like an assault rifle at medium range it's like a laser. And that kind of makes sniping a lot better for super long range. I feel like sniping now is ultra long range.
Yeah.
Instead of,
In a way that you don't like?
it's taken some getting used to because in Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4, my MO was, get near a battleground, snipe some dudes, move around. It was a little more run and gun with the sniper, which I really enjoyed. But now it's more stationary, I feel like. For me personally, I don't know. Everyone plays differently. But for me, I haven't really gotten a good feel for the sniper yet. Maybe I need to unlock some better ones that are more like one hit kill, but it's like, to put it in context, a traditional fight for me goes like, I'll have my sniper rifle, I'll see a dude, I'll get a body shot, I'll miss the head, I'll get him in the body.
Yeah.
It'll do like 65 damage. He'll see me then, machine gun dead. That happens all the time. So it's like I'm finding less use for the sniper rifle unless it is a great distance.
See,
which is
that's an opposite
good.
reaction of what I had because playing the sniper, it was like, hey, really be careful about your shots. Make sure you get that headshot.
Make sure you get the headshot.
And then when you do,
it's
especially
amazing.
from a great distance, you just feel so good.
So good.
Yeah, you really feel like a god in a great way. And just like the skull icon for the kill.
The sound, like it's insane.
High level dopamine.
Yeah.
Rich, thick dopamine.
Thick dopamine.
Yeah. I need to get better at it, I think. Because I am never confident in my abilities. I was always so confident of sniping in Battlefield. Always.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I love sniping in those games. So it's an adjustment.
Yeah, I feel that way about Battlefield 5 in general. I remember, and maybe this was just because it was the beta, running into it and it not really clicking right away. But the more I spent time with it, the more I got into it.
Yeah.
And it's getting to the point where I'm having a consistently good time when I am able to play. So.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's amazing. I would like a little more vehicles or maps that feature more vehicles, because we have so much infantry in Battlefield 5. It's clearly the focus. It's infantry combat. Some of the maps, like Rotterdam, you know, is just straight infantry. I would love it because it doesn't feel this way. I don't know. I don't know if this is the case, but it feels like the more open maps would be a great way to add more vehicles. It's like if we're going to do a huge open map like Aerodome or something, have more vehicles spawn. Whereas when we do Rotterdam, it's like, okay, it makes sense for to have less because it's an infantry
You just want a little bit more of a mix.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So.
Hey, Brad.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.
I've got some good news, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know how on this podcast we always go like, oh, hey, you said the word. You said the word. I have some good news. So the demons...
I have a question. Though.
Yeah.
Sorry,
absolutely.
I gotta stop you.
No,
guys.
I mean, go for it.
I gotta stop you here.
Go for it.
When are you getting Battlefield?
When I don't have to play something for work.
Fair enough.
I think that's
I haven't
very
played
fair.
a video game in 2 days. I am constantly thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I
Need
have
you in
something
there,
I have to
bro.
play for work.
Need you in there.
I have faith that Brad will get in there.
Good.
Yeah, normally we say a word, a forbidden word that the demons don't like that triggers it. They heard us talking about Thanksgiving, and like, you know what? We're going to take the day off today. Put your feet up, have a demon Thanksgiving.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know what that means.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, it could be horrible, but that's what their word is. And so we are going into this caught in a frame trap of our own volition.
Nice.
Today I want to talk about something. It is not the most original conversation, but I do feel like it's particularly relevant with everything going on with Detective Pikachu, with Monster Hunter, with Castlevania that recently came out, with Devil May Cry being announced.
Right.
I want to talk about what does it take for a good video game adaptation. But before we get into that, let's thank our sponsors.
Oh, okay.
First sponsor is Greg TheDarkKnight Kettering. Always fun to say thank you for your continued support of Frame Trap, Greg. Next, we've got Dale Sun. Thank you, Dale Sun. Following him, we've got Xotig. Hi, allies.
Hello.
With
Hi.
the hype train of Final Fantasy XIV's Shadowbringers pulling out of the station. That's a good way to say that. I wanted to send out an invite to any allies on the Matthias server or greater Ether data center to join our free company or cross-world link shell. If you're on Matthias, search me up at Sophia, but it's spelled X''OFIA, Braxish, Braxish, Sophia Braxish. Search for me on weeknights around 7 Central Time. We'll have a cross-world private server finder with the password EZASB. Whether you're just starting out in Eorzea or have been playing for years, let's get ready for Shadowbringers together.
Yo, that gets me hyped, man.
Rallying
the rally
troops.
call.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
great.
Yeah, that gets me so hyped. I was thinking about
Jeez.
14 recently, man.
Yeah, Damiani's been talking to me about it.
Oh, yeah. We
been-
need
he's
some
been
people to
recruiting me.
like guide us and like train us.
Yeah.
Next,
Dude, I'm not even level capping WoW, man. It's like MMOs.
there's a lot.
And it's busy.
There's a lot, and you accept it, and you do what
Yeah,
you can.
do what you
exactly. Do what you can.
Next, we've got JoJo's Dent Co. Thank you, JoJo's Dent Co.
Thank you.
After that, we've got Oh Yes, Cool Great. Following Oh Yes, Cool Great, we've got Blue. Thank you, Oh Yes and Blue. Next, we have Alex AI, an SRPG enthusiast who has a request for Michael Huber.
Ooh.
Lay it on me.
Can we get Huber to wish for a brand new Advance Wars?
Dude, yeah, I have before.
Have
you? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Advanced Wars hype.
Nice. I didn't know you were into Advance Wars.
Dude, love Advance Wars.
That's cool.
What was that GameCube game?
Battalion
Yeah,
Wars.
Battalion Wars.
I didn't
was
play
fun.
Battalion Wars.
Battalion Wars was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good Advance Wars, but it was cool.
Bring it back.
All right.
Bring it back. Dude, Nintendo Direct.
Tomorrow.
E3 2019. We're going to need you, Nintendo. Sony's not going to be there. We need Nintendo
Step it up.
to pull the weight. Get something like Advance Wars going. That's what we need.
Don't know what more you could ask for from Huber than that. That was good. That was a passionate cry for Advance Wars.
Love that game.
Next, we have Picture Pathway, a visual perception card game currently to be crowdfunded on Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is live and active right now. Get ready to put your brain to the test as you race to connect as many colorful shapes as possible into one long twisting pathway.
Nice.
Your pathway lies before you. Can you see it? And now, our mega sponsor, Jigarbob Productions. A buddy of mine was like, yo, play this game Wandersong. It's amazing and totally made for you. Hell, if you made a game, I bet it would be like this. Being the good friend that I am, Jigarbob said, I picked it up. No hyperbole, Wandersong has to be one of the jolliest games I've ever played. You're a bard and you go on a huge adventure, but instead of using swords and combat, your voice is your weapon.
Ooh,
You sing to defeat ghosts, do puzzles, and interact with the environment. It's so uplifting, and the writing is super funny. 4 out of 4.
Nice. Sounds good.
Now it's time for a brief discussion on what does it take for a good video game adaptation.
Oh, okay.
Adi Shankar.
Just
Yeah.
that one person alone can make it?
I think being super faithful to the source material is always a good thing. Like when we see what we've seen on Monster Hunter,
Yeah.
it's like yikes. Not too hyped on that. Like the
Right.
Castlevania anime, I feel like it's definitely not the same as 3, but it definitely stays loyal to what makes Castlevania Castlevania.
Like, dude, I just finished episode 2. They know what's up, man. The boss comes. The flying boss, the tag team.
from Symphony
Yeah.
of the Night.
For Symphony of the Night.
4, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, second episode, let's have a sick like the boss fight with those dudes, right?
Yes. And it's an amazing moment. And
Yeah.
you go like, oh, wow, what a cool way.
What a cool-
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think the thing for me about Castlevania is it's not that all the time.
Yeah.
They're not trying to slap you in the face and be like, listen, man, we understand Castlevania. They do enough, and they do it carefully enough that it makes sense and is cool. But like, think about how slow-moving Castlevania Season 2 is. And I don't mean that in a negative way.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, our priority here is to build this mythology, play up these characters, forge these alliances in a way that it's just fascinating on its own, even if you don't know anything about Castlevania.
Yeah, you can still enjoy it.
And that's what I want. I just want a good-ass story.
Yeah. The Resident Evil movies are a fascinating beast because when the first one came out, it was so removed from the games, right? It had like maybe the basic framework of Umbrella doing sketch things. You're trapped in a location trying to get out.
Some lab.
It's lab, you know, the liquor. And that really upset me, right? I was upset. I was like, what is this? Like, this isn't Resident Evil, okay? So then we get the next one, which is Nemesis. It's like, oh, maybe they're trying to go more, lean into the video game more. Mm-hmm. Well, Resident Evil Apocalypse is one of the worst movies ever made, hands down. Okay. So then we get to the third one, Extinction, right? And this is kind of a turning point for me with this franchise, where then they started going away from the games and really started focusing on Mila Jovovich's Alice character. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started just enjoying them for what they were. They're bad movies. They're not really faithful to the games. But and it's like, it's weird. And this is the part I want to bring up, is that anytime that franchise tried to honor and mimic the game, it was worse for it. It's when they focused on this new Alice character that it was good. I was like, dude, I'm interested in her. Let's just watch her be a badass and go through this. It's when they threw in Chris and Leon and Wesker and Claire.
Well, it's like they didn't even try to stay low. They threw
because
in like
they tried to
threw in this character's name, and that's it.
Exactly.
They didn't throw like any like the plot stuff from what I've seen. Really, the other ones.
So I think you either gotta like zone in on it hard or abandon it completely.
Well,
but then Castlevania kind of is in the middle too.
I think about Resident Evil Apocalypse, Huber.
Yeah.
And I think if you like remove Nemesis or you remove like Jill's outfit, you were to take a clip of that movie or like a shot from that movie and try to put it within Resident Evil as you know it, it just doesn't make any sense. And so I don't think it's like about being like, oh, look, this enemy is here. It's that like you think about Castlevania and the ways that they're deepening that lore, they're expanding it. It makes sense. It is playing into a tone you're already familiar with and know. It doesn't feel like it's just a different thing with the same name slapped on it.
Yeah.
And that's what's really.
I think it works for Castlevania too, because like this like the source material, there's not really much of a story there.
Right.
Totally.
That's the lore that is there.
Yeah.
Like either came in later things or was like you go on a wiki and you can dig through it, but like in those NES games, no, it's not super presented. But it also doesn't feel out of place.
No.
It's like what you imagine when you're playing Castlevania 3, what you want Trevor Belmont to be. It feels right with your own experiences.
Yeah, so I think it's just honoring like the spirit of the game. You know, I think that's the most important thing. It's like, what do you want from...
I think it captures the tone of the games really well.
And it's like, what do you want from a Monster Hunter movie? And it's like, I want to see
someone using a charge blade,
exactly,
like wearing
killing
monster armor, like fighting in
killing
like,
some big ass monsters.
Right. If there was a new Resident Evil movie for me, I want it to be slow. I want to just you do that trailer. I want you just doing shots of empty hallways and rooms in a mansion.
Yeah.
Like to me,
scare the shit out of me.
Right. It's not like motorcycles running off buses and explosions.
Right.
And
it needs to be like what 7 was for the Resident Evil franchise. After 6, like they just need to dial it way the hell back.
Yeah.
Like put them in the mansion, man.
Yeah.
Put them in the mansion. Small scale encounters. Super slow pace.
So what do you think then?
It's time, dude.
Detective Pikachu, which I would argue that the response has been mostly positive, with definitely some sharp divisiveness here and there.
Sure.
Where, those designs have things that resemble the original designs, but it's a lot different. It's a lot fuzzier, a little bit.
Yeah, the fur kind of freaked me out, but The movie looks awesome. Again, I don't have a deep
Yeah.
attachment to Pokemon.
So what makes it look awesome to you as somebody who's not, you know, a hardcore Pokemon person?
It looks edgy, man. It looks edgy and funny. It looks like a Hollywood blockbuster action adventure movie.
What?
So what is exciting about that?
Just for Pokemon, I guess. Like it's
Just seeing Pokemon.
It's a weird,
period.
yeah. Like it's an epic tone for Pokemon to go for. You know, it's like the like Greninja is like sliding down the hall and like you know, it just looks action packed, and that's not a place I thought it was gonna go.
For me, a big reason why I'm excited about Detective Pikachu is we talked about that tone and things lining up. You look at shots and you look at how the world is constructed, and you look at how, like, in the signs on the posters on his wall, these are all referencing very key or very recognizable things within Pokemon. And again, I don't think it should just be like, listen, can you believe we have this thing? And that's not really the vibe that I'm getting. It's kind of baked into every scene, like it's just sort of massaged in there. And I hope and think it will feel like a world where Pokemon makes sense in a way that Pokemon has already defined for us. It will build up the rules using the rules that we already have, I hope.
Yeah. Like the whole gym vibe. His dad was an epic gym leader.
Yeah.
Such a basic
Him
story,
wanting to
but
be
a story
trainer.
that I love.
Right, him wanting to be a trainer and then not like,
You sold
sure,
me.
not the most original thing in the world, but that is the striving to chase after your dreams feels fundamental.
Yep.
Like that's
Yep.
yeah, absolutely.
And Ryan Reynolds sounds amazing.
What's up?
Ryan Reynolds sounds amazing.
He does.
So
I've said this before, but like I loved Deadpool 2 so much. Did you see it?
Oh yeah.
Are
you gonna see the PG-13
loved it.
cut, the holiday one?
I don't know.
Dude, I want to see it because there's like a 0.05% chance of a Shadow Hugh Jackman drop,
Right.
but I doubt
Like the
it.
Fred Savage stuff seems kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious.
I'm curious.
I don't know if I'll go in the theater, but like maybe somewhere down the line I'll watch it.
Let me say this about Detective Pikachu. Now,
Yeah, absolutely.
when I say this, don't freak out, everyone, okay?
Okay.
Don't try to murder me.
Okay.
But it gives me Transformer vibes.
Total, dude. Hollywood blockbuster. It has that formula.
That's what it gives me. Like, not necessarily a bad thing or anything like that, but I'm just saying it just gives me that vibe.
100%.
And like, I'm fine with it. I'm not a huge stake in Pokemon movies, so it's fine with me. Like, it looks all right. I'll probably see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe this movie will be garbage. I just think from that trailer, it left me optimistic enough.
That's good.
I'm not like, oh man, this is guaranteed to be bad. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Let me
so
say, it
awful
looked
that-
much better than when I heard it on paper.
Right,
It looked
exactly.
much better than that.
The real,
Exactly. That's how I feel.
the real test will be a Pokemon battle and catching a Pokemon.
yeah.
Like, let me see that. If they nail that,
I think the humor has to be really good for this movie.
And Ryan Reynolds,
has
I
to be
trust.
really good. Yeah.
can we all agree?
I don't want him just to be Deadpool though, like
I mean,
Pikachu.
I was pretty sure that the
Will they get a
Warcraft
Deadpool
movie was
cast?
going to be great, and although I enjoyed it immensely, not a great movie.
Nope. Loved it though.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we all agree that Mortal Kombat is the best video game movie
Mortal
of
Kombat
all
1
time?
is so much fun to watch.
It's so good.
Like, it's not good, but it's fun.
It's good.
No, it's not. It's fun. It's like in the realm of video game movies, yeah, it's good. But
I mean-
usually that bar is pretty low.
For what, I guess for me, what I wanted it to be was nothing more than fun.
Yeah.
And so it really hit those.
Yeah.
Boy,
That Scorpion.
what is it?
Johnny
Armageddon
Cage fight.
is a trash fire though.
Skip.
It's so
Like,
bad.
one's sick because it's super loyal to the Mortal Kombat storyline, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Just the tournament, like super small scale, just enough of Outworld.
The basic characters.
Yeah. Like Goro in it, like looks goofy now,
dude.
but so cool back then. Like classic lines, dude. Those are $500 sunglasses, asshole.
Not really relevant to the original point of this conversation, but Huber, I'm ready for Mortal Kombat 11, man. I'm ready for a new
so
Mortal
ready.
Kombat
Let's
game.
go.
I was
Show
playing
it.
Soul Calibur 6 over the break, and I was
Yeah.
just thinking about Mortal Kombat.
Oh man.
Were you enjoying your Soul Calibur 6 time?
Yeah, like most fighting games, though, I hit a brick wall, and then I hard quit. I was doing the story mode, and I was just wrecking shop all the way through. And then I got to this.
Are we talking about Libra of Souls?
Yeah. And then I got to this boss and like couldn't even touch him.
Is it as well with his regenerating health?
As well, regenerating health, spinning around, lightning spins like what? Looked it up, dude. The Game Facts message boards were very entertaining. Of like, screw this guy, I can't beat this guy. This is some BS. People referencing like all these obscure fighting games. Like, yeah, this reminds me of Balico in Soul Edge 9. Like, just like weird like references to other fighting games.
What style of character were you using?
Geralt.
Did you try a different style?
I did. I tried cheesing him with like a giant axe. Didn't work. Yeah, it was tough.
So Nightmare's like forward horizontal attack ended up being
OP.
really good. Nightmare is extremely strong. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Got the range and the damage.
Yeah, he's good.
Sick.
Which is why he's so much fun to use.
Yeah. Nightmare's always fun.
Yeah.
The last video game movie I want to give a shout out to is Silent Hill.
Yeah,
the first
I loved
one.
it.
The first
the
one.
skin rip.
Right.
Man,
Top
Huber,
tier
I'm so
kill.
conflicted on
Super
Silent Hill, and
loyal to the
I should
source.
rewatch it to kind of solidify my feelings. But I was super high on that movie, and then over time, I feel like my opinion of it has tanked.
Sure.
Probably. Yeah.
Don't know if it
So
holds up.
I should give it another watch. to
Second
see.
one was real boring. I remember.
I couldn't even bring myself
Real
to watch
boring.
it. Wasn't there a third one? I don't know.
I only saw the first
I only
one.
saw the first one, yeah, as well.
But yeah, good job, Castlevania. Keep it up.
Speaking of shows, movies, and what have you, I'm actually bringing a show that I want to talk
What?
about today. Yeah, we don't have to spend too much
I'll
time on
sit
it,
this one out, dude.
but it's so good that I had to bring it. And it's
Boruto?
a hot thing right now. No, not Boruto. Maybe someday I'll bring Boruto.
My dreams.
The Haunting of Hill House.
Nice.
Have you watched it?
No.
Okay.
A lot of it got spoiled for me.
A lot of it gets spoiled for you. Well, I'm not here to spoil it for you. That is not what I want to do because that is
Feel free. It's already been spoiled.
that is the fun of it. No, I'm not going to spoil it. So I didn't know. It was one of those shows that like I didn't know much about. I didn't know the source material or any adaptations of it or anything like that. It was a show that people were saying was good, and I like spooky things, and so I gave it a shot, and it has grabbed me. I've not finished it yet. I think I'm like midway or 75% of the way through episode 5. I fell asleep while watching it, which happens to me often. But yeah, it is this family who goes to this house. It is obviously a haunted house. But what makes the show so effective, it is, in my opinion, genuinely scary. And the way that it builds up its horror, and when it does choose to pop things out at you, I do find effective. I do think that things look super gross and cool. But that is way on the side to how well they invest you in the family itself. And you really come to care deeply about these characters and the way that they
live.
What's that?
Want him to live. Brad and I have an insight.
I'm gonna bring something up about that after Ben's done.
Okay. And what's great about it is the storytelling kind of is constantly shifting to have a sense of mystery there, and you kind of start in the middle with this family where they know each other super well and you don't really know them, and so there are traits that they have, there are qualities that they have that seem kind of odd in the sense that you don't fully understand, but then the story shifts and it will spend an entire episode focusing on one individual character and really what makes them work. And all of the characters are so different that they really make for this interesting collective where they've had this super traumatic thing happen to them and they've all kind of spiraled off of it and dealt with it in different ways, and all of those different ways, the ways that everybody's responding, the way that they talk to each other, the way they talk about this house, it all feels really believable. The dialogue is done in such a way that you think this was a real traumatic event that happened to them. Even when it gets a little bit more supernatural, it's all incredibly grounded. And I was not expecting it to be as into it as I am.
What a good surprise.
Yeah.
I have heard nothing but 10 out of 10s from every single person that has brought that up.
Ben, the "Want Her to Live" reference is from Cities 3.
Yeah,
I think it is.
yeah.
Like the main character in the movie. Me and Mike just kept talking about how much we liked her. Like, "Want Her to Live."
Yeah.
"Want Her to Live." Did you know there's Insidious 5 coming out?
It's coming out.
I didn't even know there was 4.
The Last Key, it was bad. It was
Oh,
bad.
it was bad?
It was not good, yeah. It wasn't terrible, but it was like, all right, the franchise is, run its course.
After one, it.
But I like 2 and 3.
Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah.
They're not as good as 1, though.
Yeah. My horror criteria, Ben, it's really only 2 things
Yeah.
that I judge, that I can give a 10 out of 10 for any horror film or show or whatever it may be, is 1, do I want the characters to live?
You're right. Do you care about them?
If I want them to live, huge. Step 1. Step 2, good kills. If there are good kills and you want the heroes to live in a horror movie,
I will say
we're done here.
It is not really a show that is focused on kills.
Or good gore in
It's
general.
not really focused on gore.
Or good scares. It depends.
Yeah.
Like
Suspense.
it's ghosts and supernatural.
Yeah, it's more of a supernatural kind
Atmosphere.
of like lingering presence
Yeah.
sort of
It's like
of
The
thing.
Conjuring kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not really about people getting violently messed up.
Yeah.
I would argue. So far, anyway. Who knows? I got 5 more episodes to go. What was the other? I feel like I watch a lot of things. I'm kind of a sucker for like, okay, we're gonna introduce this big, complex, mysterious thing, and then there's gonna be a huge twist. I love that kind of storytelling, but it can end up feeling really hollow. And I feel like there are a good number of suspenseful shows where that is your drive, is you just want to see what the thing is that they have to reveal, you
Yeah.
know, what the mystery is, what
Lost.
the history is.
Westworld.
Yeah.
Westworld.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Westworld.
I really think what I'm talking about here is Westworld, where I'm sorry to any Westworld fans, but I feel like Westworld season 2 crawled so far up its own ass and thought it was so much cooler than it actually
then
was.
they shit on the people that were criticizing it too.
It-
They were like, it's a really slow-paced intellectual show. So
No.
like that's what the
It
one
just
of the
kept
producers
winding
said.
itself up that it felt more fake and bullshitty and I was so angry at Westworld season 2. Whereas I have the opposite thing here, where yes, there are several mysteries that you're trying to get to, or at least information that you want to uncover, but that is taking a back seat to constant, meaningful character development.
You know who does that beautifully? You know what you just described, Ben Moore?
Are you gonna say Boruto?
I'm gonna say Yakuza.
Oh yeah,
0.
Yeah.
Yakuza 0.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
I
empty
think that
lot.
applies to Yakuza
The empty
0.
lot,
Yeah.
kind of in the back. This mystery. It's like, what is why is this so
Right.
important? What's going on here? Who's connected to this? Like, that mystery
The
drives
empty
you.
lot.
Yeah,
Think about
dude.
how
Dude, the
well in Yakuza 0. Think about how well Majima's story is not only brought up in the context of everything else going on, but how it develops. Yeah. Like taking it center stage, but also not abandoning all the other stuff that they're trying to build up with the empty lot, with Kiryu's story.
Man,
and all
one
that
of the
stuff.
best character introductions of all time.
One of the best
Majima.
games of all time, dude.
It's really
Yakuza
good.
0.
You really like it.
I just
Yakuza
want
0 is
more.
very good.
Where's Judge Eyes?
It's coming.
Where is it?
It's coming. We're gonna judge it.
You're just,
need
gonna,
it.
you're just gonna wake up and it'll be on your PS4.
Like the theme is just like Judge Eyes. Yeah.
It's the only thing you can click on. All right, yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Cool.
God, Ben, I
It's
gotta
so
watch Haunting of Hill House, man. Like you getting into a horror thing
Yeah.
is like, I'm in. I gotta watch it.
I will say it
I've
did
been putting
have
it off
that.
because it got spoiled so hard for me, dude.
Man, that's a bummer. It hasn't been spoiled for me,
Yeah.
and so
'Cause
it's
everyone-
been
it's-
spoiled for you.
It's one of those spoiler things where
Everyone
every
knows.
single human is like, how about this part during this episode? Like, thanks. You know?
That sucks.
Because
I don't know
then
what else to say other than
yeah,
that
then
sucks.
instead of like passively being a passenger on this ride, it's like you're just waiting to get to that moment. You know, those are my most hated types of spoilers.
I will say after the first episode, I was nowhere near the level I'm at now. It definitely took a while, and it was a build up for my affection and interest in it. So give it a couple of episodes at least. Cool. But, yeah, really good. I'm sorry it got spoiled for you, Huber, because I do think, were that not the case, you would be really into it. I think you'd like it a lot. And Brad, I think you'd like it too.
I'll get there. Yeah, dude. Haunted House.
Yeah, I like haunted houses.
Huber, you've been playing Dragon Quest XI.
Woo, baby.
Sounds
Dude.
ideal.
Yes. Heavenly. Played it on Thanksgiving, dude. So jolly. Ooh. This game.
Yeah.
finally hitting a stride with it because, I kept kind of starting and stopping.
Has that starting and stopping hurt the experience at all for you?
Not at all, dude. It's kind of just this warm blanket that I have on off to the side that I can pull over me anytime I want. But now I'm really, really getting into the intricacies and complexities of the combat system. Dude, okay. So the last thing I played was the Spoilers. I'm about 20 hours in Draconian Quest, so that's really only like 10 or 15 probably on normal because I'm grinding so hard. But got to the Jasper fight. The first Jasper fight where
Gondolia?
Eric gets captured like early on.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to sneak around and then go fight him.
Yeah.
Hell of a fight here that I just really loved because I fought him twice. Okay, fought the dude the first time, took me out. Okay, used this move Zam, really powerful magic ability, one-shotted Serena. She's my healer. Went down, lost cause. Okay, I was like, oh man, maybe I got unlucky there with the RNG.
Yeah,
she took a hit. I'll go again. Second time, got like way closer. Same thing, dude. Took me out with Zam. But then I started using more of the moves, dude. I started using Magic Barrier with Veronica, setting that up. Setting up the parry stance, like using all of my buffs, accelerate, decelerating, and sapping him. Knowing when to attack. Just using all of these moves. Like every turn is so freaking amazing. Went down again second time. I was like, shit. Because Sylvando and Veronica didn't have heals, so I died twice. I'm like, all right, I got to give them more herbs, like to just in case, in case things get hairy. So I went out, crafted like a new weapon or two, a little more armor, grinded one level, got everyone leveled up one time, got some items. I was like, all right, I feel good now. Went back in. Took him out, took care of him. It's like my favorite kind of JRPG scenario where you're throwing yourself at a boss, you're understanding the mechanics and the move sets. It's like, okay, well, this dude hits like a truck, so I need to buff up physical. But the magic movie does Zam, like, can one-shot my people, so magic barrier needs to be up at all times. Still was pretty tough, so then I went and grinded like one level. It was perfect. So I just love that scenario.
Yeah, absolutely, Huber. Where I do feel like there are RPGs that you play where they're easy enough, or they're just not. They don't have enough going on. Where you take things for granted. You do things like buying equipment because it's a habit rather than a tactical necessity.
Yeah,
and that's something I think Divinity Original Sin 2 does so well. Also, where I felt like how I fight, what I fight with, who I fight with, the spells I bring into it matter, and that's what will win rather than just brute force.
Yeah,
and so that's awesome.
And just the tactics, like the I have so many spells now with Serena and Veronica. It's crazy.
Keeps going.
Dude, sometimes I'll be on like one character's turn for like 90 seconds. I'll be like, okay, what am I doing here? Like, let me kind of cycle through here.
I definitely had moments where I'd be scrolling through the spells and be like, oh, right. That happened,
Yeah. So I'm loving it. It's really getting in its stride now, dude.
Good.
Like, it's now that the party dynamic has kind of settled in. Sylvando has joined the fray, who is just an out of control jolly character. Yeah, he's insane. Got my ship.
Yeah.
And traveled to northeast somewhere. It begins with a K. It's like the Kilnuncha region or something. Got to a little.
It's like it has like the
rest.
field. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The Warriors Rest.
Little Warriors Rest there. Got a side quest where it's like free the spirits from like my fallen comrades.
So the dream?
You have to go to like the ruins at night and use a move. To like free them from their tortured state.
Is it a pet power that you have to use?
Yeah, you have to use a pet power. Care prayer. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of the use the pet power on this thing type of side quest.
It's pretty crazy though, because there's only like 26 side quests in the quest log.
Oh,
There's
don't
like
worry.
60 something.
Oh, they add more. Okay, I was like,
Don't
wow.
you will get
Got it.
more?
Got it.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
I was like 26. I was like, okay, maybe it just gives
Huber,
me.
you have so far to go still. Don't
Yeah.
worry, dude.
I think
Because
there's
my impression was that it would just give me a few each time I would get to a
No,
new region.
it does, when you're going through, it does kind of dole them out, I feel like, in pretty small amounts, but
Yeah.
then once you hit a certain point, there's a lot more that come.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm anticipating the final 2 party members, obviously.
How aggressively are you hunting mini medals?
Aggressively.
Isn't it,
And
isn't it the best?
mini metals and crafting materials, because they're everything is so damn important, dude. Every little seed, every little crafting thing,
Right.
every +1, +2, +3 on your gear.
Yeah.
Like every coin you get.
That was a big part of my review, Huber,
Yeah.
where I think that is such a hard thing to get right in a game like this, where you have a world where it's exciting and useful to pick stuff up, and you feel like you can immediately apply a purpose to it, but there's not so much stuff that you can't appreciate what's around you, and you're constantly scanning the ground or the mini map.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good balance between that.
Totally.
They found the line to walk, definitely.
Yeah, so I'm really hitting my stride in that.
Awesome.
So it'll be slow and steady for the next couple of months.
Yeah, and I really like the approach that you're taking it. You're playing it in exactly the way you want to. You're taking as much time as you need to, and you're loving it. That's great.
Loving it.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to talk to you after you've finished. I think we should
In a
have a
year.
long conversation.
Yeah, in a year.
In a year.
Yeah, because
Hey, man, I'm still trying to get through Red Dead. We all got our things.
Because like,
So-
I'm 20 hours in, and the story up until this point has really been like, you're a darkspawn, they're hunting you. Run. 20 hours.
This is exactly why I want to talk to you.
So it's like, okay, but
Yeah.
then the whole like Jasper thing and,
Yeah.
you know, the learning, like getting the party members. Once all the party members are set and that plot starts moving forward, I'm sure I'll really.
It was one of the things that I criticized as well, where I do feel like it withholds a lot of the most interesting stuff
For a while.
for
Forever.
for a very long time. But at the same time, when I say that criticism, once you get there, that super delay kind of enhances the moment. And so I'm curious
Yep.
what you think about it. I'm mixed on that a little bit.
Flame slash.
Yeah. Flame slash, yeah. Oh, just wait, dude.
Flame
wait.
slash.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Love it, but
The,
I can't help but desperately miss.
I guess there's not a way to reference that without spoiling it. Good tip.
I just desperately miss monster hunting in it.
Oh,
Dragon Quest
sure.
8, the monster teams, dude. I miss that so bad.
Sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not game breaking, or it's not like ruining any of my experience, but it's like I still, anytime I see a saber cat in the wild, I, you know, long to recruit. It's like, let me
Yeah.
just recruit some monsters. Yeah.
How much time did you spend with that in Dragon Quest 8? Was that like
The
your-
monster hunting?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Dude, the tournament, you got to do the monster tournament.
Cool.
All in on that.
Brad,
Yeah.
you've been playing The Messenger,
Yeah, that's right.
a game that
Nice. Everyone's talking about this.
a game that I feel like was hot in the moment, at least for me, and then I put on the back burner, and then it got lost in backlog abyss for me.
Sure.
And so it's cool to hear that you're bringing it to Frame Trap now.
Yeah, I'm going to start saying I will be talking about slight spoilers.
Sure.
So if you're worried about it, get out now.
Appreciate the warning.
Get out.
So the game, like, totally starts off as like, hey, we like Ninja Gaiden. We're going to make a Ninja Gaiden game that kind of fits in the modern era, which is great because Ninja Gaiden's awesome. Controls really well. The levels are really fun.
Yeah.
What'd you say about the music? Jolly tunes or something?
Jolly tunes.
Yeah.
Just like upbeat. Yeah.
Really cool boss fights that are all really different. I was really surprised by a lot of them. That the game kind of does the whole castle upside down moment where it's just like, hey, this game's a Metroidvania now. I was like, oh. So you like the whole first half of the game, you're going through these levels very linear. Then you get to a point in the game where it's like, now you're going to go through all these levels and it's a Metroidvania now. So you get to
16-bit.
totally explore a lot of these levels. The platforming is really good in it. It reminds me of Guacamelee a lot. Not as good as Guacamelee, but it's good. There's like brief moments where I'm like, oh yeah, it's like a cool little challenge getting through
Dude,
here.
when it's like, you like 3 birds, you know, or
Yeah.
something, you're just like, hit, jump, hit, jump, hit, jump.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
like Celeste has stuff like that. Celeste is like way more complex though and stuff like that. But it's just really simple, great combat. The writing's like whatever. Sometimes it I could see Kyle just hating this, like
Sure.
the writing, like
Oh my
acknowledging.
god, the shopkeeper.
Yeah,
I
just-
thought of the same thing. I was
Yeah,
like,
just
well, Bossman's
Kyle
out.
hates this kind of thing, but I'm pleased with it. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm enjoying my time with it. Feeling a nice little indie itch, I guess. Like kind of reminds me of Shovel Knight. Not as impactful to me as Shovel Knight. I feel like Shovel Knight was like insane when it came out to me. But it's really solid. I'm having a good time. Looking forward to finishing it. It's a good game, man. I think you should check it out if you like those old school platformer, like Ninja Gaiden, Metroidvania kind of
It's
games.
been the best damn year ever for those games.
I got
dude.
through the
Brutal,
8-bit
yeah.
section and I loved it, and then I got just to the 16-bit section and I stopped, and I haven't picked it up since
Yeah,
then.
it hasn't turned into Metroidvania yet for you.
But I've heard some people say that once it goes Metroidvania, they didn't like it as much.
Sure, I could totally understand that. The game is like it feels super cryptic about what you're supposed to do. Like I got to the point I was like, what? And I was
Is
like,
that
all right.
frustrating for you?
Kind of. It just like I had time to play it, so I was like, oh, that's fine like that. If I really had to do, I just like look up what to do. But I just like went in a level and explored it because it was new, so it was fine when I was doing it. But I could see how like, because it definitely like. It pulls like it just like changes the whole game how you play it. Like I'm thinking of Brutal Legend in my mind, but like actually fun though.
Sure.
Just like something like that, where like, oh, it turns into something completely different. Like the same mechanic is there, like platforming, moving through a level. It's just not like a stage going through it.
Do you wish it was more an 8-bit linear action platformer? Do you wish it didn't have that switch? Or
I think it's fine because the game gave me quite a bit of levels that were just the 8-bit side scroll. Like I usually prefer games that are stage based. Like I prefer the Castlevanias that are mostly. But I'm cool with it right now. It hasn't burned me out yet, but if it gets to a point where I'm like, I'm sick of this, then yeah, it could be a problem.
Did you play Dead Cells yet?
No.
Oh, dude.
No.
Brad Ellis joint.
I do feel
Don't
like there's a
sleep on
Brad
that,
Ellis
Brad.
joint.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
I don't
you
know.
haven't played that
From
yet?
what I've seen, it doesn't look appealing to me. I haven't played it, but what I've seen of it, I haven't been into.
The Huber eyes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm if you play, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Nothing against it. Just
Yeah.
saying what I've seen, I've not been super into.
A game that you keep bringing up to me, which I'm very thankful that you do, is Guacamelee 2.
Yeah,
We need to get to that
dude.
as
So
well.
fun.
What do you think about Guacamelee? What do you think about Guacamelee 2 in comparison to The Messenger? Is there a valid comparison there?
I mean, they both turn to Metroidvanias. I just think Guacamelee is better structured and like traversing the environment. I think is more interesting in this
see.
game. I think I think Guacamelee is a really great game. Like I gave it a really high score. It's really good, but I mean, this is like different still. But for what Guacamelee does and brings to the table, I think is really more interesting.
Okay. Limited. Let's say you're talking to somebody with limited time.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to play Celeste. I want to play Guacamelee 2. I want to play The Messenger. Do you think The Messenger is good enough for someone to make time for?
Sure,
In
I
that
think it's
sense?
good enough to make time for. I don't know if I'd recommend it over the other games yet because I haven't
Celeste
finished
is
it.
pretty damn amazing.
Celeste is very good. Guacamelee 2 is very good. So
Yeah.
I mean, I would say all three of them are different enough. I'd have to really pick their brain and see what aspect they like of each kind of game because they're all different. Like similar, but they're quite different still.
Cool. I've got a couple of games that I just want to talk about really quickly that I finished up and left a pretty big mark on me. The first of those is The Missing.
Right. I need to play this.
Yeah, So let me open this up by saying that there have been some amazing stories this year. Haven't finished Red Dead, so that could be a contender as well. God of War had some really interesting story stuff going on. The Missing is my favorite video game story of 2018.
Whoa.
By a lot. What it talks about, and I don't really want to.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, I don't really want to ruin it, but it deals with very heavy things. It deals with mental illness. It deals with depression. It deals with identity. And it does those things in a way that it feels like it really has something to say. It's not just dwelling on those issues, but it's coming through with a point. And it teases things along. We were talking about mystery with The Haunting of Hill House, where at first, The Missing just kind of seems like this great, hilarious Twin Peaks homage that is just weird for the sake of being weird. But the more you dig into it, everything has a place. Everything has a purpose. There's a reason it's doing all of this weird stuff. And it's immensely satisfying to dig into. Unlike Deadly Premonition, which I really enjoy. I love Deadly Premonition. I think it has all these qualities. I actually had a great time playing The Missing, and I think it's fun on a mechanical level too, kind of mutilating your body to solve puzzles or getting hit by a wrecking ball and having the world spin upside down. The puzzles are interesting. They're complex enough that you have to take some time to think about them, but they're never so bad that you get mad or hate the game. At least in my experience, it was pretty smooth. Even though I kind of played it in fits and starts, it was pretty smooth and fun overall, I would say. And just a strong plea to people to check this out. It's about 6 hours. It's not a huge commitment, and I think you'll end up just taking away something from it. And when I talked about Celeste, it was kind of the same thing. Like, yes, Celeste is a blast to play. Those levels are so well designed and so challenging, and the game feels good enough to make you excited about tackling those challenges. But at the end of the day, I feel like Celeste has something to say. It's the same thing here. I really think you'll get so much out of it, and I encourage people to check it out.
Nice.
Brad, this next one you can also vouch for. I finished Astro Bot.
Yeah, dude. So good.
It is, you know how I was like, sometimes I just take a step back from Fallout 76 and I'm like, I can't believe how bad this is. It's like that, but the opposite. Sometimes I take a step back from Astro Bot and I can't believe how good it is. And you really just don't know until you've played it.
Yep.
We talked about how well it uses VR, but holy goddamn, this is like, honestly, Mario Odyssey levels of designing.
It's the best
levels.
PSVR game.
It is crazy. Like the platforming is so on point, and you really don't. Your default character doesn't have that much he can do. He has like a laser hover jump.
Jumping like
He's
a glide.
got a punch.
Yeah.
He's got a spin punch. But they apply, much like Mario, they apply this moveset in so many different creative ways, and they have enemies that make it so much fun. The boss fights are incredible. These multi-phase things where you're in the middle of an ocean, jumping over obstacles, dodging rockets. It is like constantly exciting and fun and awesome. And it is a game that starts good. I feel like all of these things that I'm saying about it, you get pretty immediately, but it only keeps getting better.
Yeah, the last world's the best.
The last world is absolutely the best. And everything that it goes for that relies on motion controls works just about flawlessly. So you'll get these tools that you need. Like you'll get a hose that you need to push the touchpad down for and move the controller. Responds like a dream. Never had any problem aiming or shooting. And there are times where I feel like the game understands that something might be a little awkward. So you have this hook and you'll need to create a line, like a rope for your person. And sometimes depending on where you're sitting on your couch, it might be hard, getting that rope low enough where you can jump on it. Not a big deal. Astrobot will recognize that there's a rope there and he'll just shoot up to it. He'll be like, I get what you're trying to do.
Nice.
And like, that's what this game has. It understands that you want this to be a well-controlling, fun and breezy adventure, and it goes the extra level to ensure that all of its ideas feel great. I mean, there are times where it asks you to be really physical, like you'll have a soccer ball kicked at you, and you'll have to like headbutt it back. And it's like, okay, if I was doing something like that all the time, if I was constantly shaking my head or having to get up and down, that would feel bad, and I wouldn't want to play this game. But it really heavily spaces things out in a way that is absolutely wonderful.
The bot controls really well too, especially for like certain angles where, like, let's say he's like up here for you, you're like super high up, you have to physically look up, and he's walking on a platform. He still controls super well, where I feel like I'm in total control of him at all times.
Yeah. I don't have like this game is so good. It's so good, and I realize that this sounds ridiculous because it's extremely expensive, but like it is worth a PSVR just to experience it. That's how good
I think it's the best game.
It's one of the best games of the year, in my opinion. It's so good. We were talking about Tetris Effect earlier before the show with Brad, and I really have enjoyed my time with Tetris Effect. But Brad was like, I don't really like Tetris. Well, it's like, you're not probably going to like this. Is that going to convert you? Astrobot is a game for everybody. Totally. I can't imagine anybody
it is. 100%.
Not having a good time with this. Give me the Astrobot cinematic universe. I'm ready for the deep dive.
Feel bad for Damiani.
Yeah, I can't play it.
Can't play it?
VR.
Yeah.
Yep. It's real good.
VR update in terms of like getting your sea legs and stuff. It used to be I would get sick all the time with VR. I've gotten better about it the more that I've used it. I've also noticed that doing VR on an empty stomach will lead to that. So best way, eat a full meal, plan out your day, eat a full meal, then go into VR.
Yeah.
You know, have some water handy, hydrate yourself.
Yeah, Astrobot's like a super like constantly moving VR game too, like that. Like Deracine, you could just I beat that whole game in like one sitting, and I was like completely fine. I mean, it's pretty short, but still.
Yeah, I have Deracine downloaded. I haven't given it a chance yet.
Dude, yeah, pretty short. Pew, 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 pew. Just go right through that. You'll cruise through that game, baby.
I need to go back and just like stand in the mansion in Resident Evil 7.
Too freaky.
We need to get you a PSVR. That's what we need to do.
I don't know. There's only like obviously I want to play Astro Bot. I played it at events only, and it was 10 out of 10. But just having you guys, the benefit of you guys, it's like VR at this point, because it's so late now, because I don't have one. It's like I just wait a year or two, borrow one of yours, and then just knock off like
well, guess
Moss,
what? You can't
Astro
borrow
Bot.
anyone's anymore.
I'll borrow Jones's.
I will not allow.
I mean, I'd be happy to let you borrow VR just to experience Astrobot.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
And I'd like you to check out Tetris Effect. I don't know if you're a Tetris guy.
I don't mind it.
Okay. But you're not super like, Tetris.
I'm not like craving to play. Like, obviously, I really want to play Astrobot. I want to give Moss a shot, and I want to do.
I need to give Moss a shot too.
Moss
I
is
keep
very
forgetting about
short.
Moss.
Is Blood and Whatever out yet? The London Heist sequel?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Is that one out yet?
Don't know.
That was fun at an event, dude.
Brad.
Reload the gun.
I am on an Astrobot high because I just finished it yesterday.
Yes.
You've had it finished for a while.
Yes.
Has your opinion of it changed at all, or are you really just as high as you initially were?
Just as high. 9.0.
9.0, baby.
Damn right.
The only thing is I ran into a little more tech issues than you, it seems like, which is good that you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't run
That's
into
great.
any
Yeah,
controlling
I ran
problems,
into
really.
some issues where like my controller just flipped around, was upside down and backwards for a while, just like annoyed the hell out of me. The Ninja Star things would like not shoot sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, what the
The Ninja Star. I definitely had times where I would like take my VR headset off to go to the bathroom or something, and then come back and be like, oh, it's mixed around again. But just holding down options would fix it.
Yeah, and I felt like the bonus room or whatever, like the diorama you do, is like whatever.
Sure,
it's fine.
Sure,
but super great game. I hope they make another one because.
I'm glad you brought that stuff up.
Because I played the Playroom, which was like the concept for that game.
I did not play the Playroom.
They have like it's totally like it was great. They have like a slide in it you go down, Ben, and that was the only time I felt like my stomach get like slightly weird.
Yeah.
But it's not an Astrobot. They were like, oh, it probably doesn't work, so they took it out, which is smart.
Got it.
Astrobot 2 win.
Yeah, win. Seriously. It's great.
Let's get a new PlayStation VR.
I'm sure we will.
It's time for an upgrade.
Wait for PS5, dude.
It's been an incredible year for games.
Yeah.
And Smash ain't even out.
I know, dude. Let's go.
Do you know what's out right now?
Red Dead Redemption 2.
HOTTAKE! Today, we're going to be talking about something that was already talked about on the Easy Allies podcast. But I don't just want to talk about the thing itself. I kind of want to reflect on a few things. And that is Sony's not going to be at E3.
Right.
They're just not going to be there. That doesn't happen.
No.
That is a constant that you can kind of assume. They're gonna be there. They're gonna have stuff to show. It might be good. It might be bad. But they're gonna be there. That's the thing that you can take away. And they're not going to be there this year. And I know for me, and I know for us as Easy Allies, that's a show that we look forward to.
I
for
live
the
for it.
spectacle, for the game reveals, for the comedy, or just on a bunch of different levels.
Right.
On a gut level, how does it feel with them not being around next year?
Hurts. It's like Kratos just hit me with an axe in the belly, and I'm bleeding out. I'm not dead yet, but I'm bleeding out.
First reaction was definitely, yikes. This
Okay.
sucks. Yeah. Over time, I've kind of been like, I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm kind of hoping they're going to do something, though. Like something.
PS5,
like,
baby.
Maybe not necessarily like at E3 or anything like that. They'll do something like talking about video games, because if it's like, well, even if you're not there, you could still have like games like Ghost of Tsushima or Last of Us 2 to like have people play.
Well, they're not even going to have a booth
Yeah, no,
at
they're
all.
not going to be there at all.
Yeah.
But we talked about this when I was on the podcast, and they were kind of saying how like it sounds like Sony just doesn't want to, like, the mix between of what E3 is being a public and like a trade or public and like a press show kind of doesn't work for them kind of thing. So I'm hoping they'll do something to show off what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like if they're just quiet for a long time, I think it's a big mistake. But I hope they do something.
Yeah.
Even it's like, hey man, we're doing an event. It's not gonna happen, but like at Staples Center, we're doing something crazy there during E3 or something.
What I think could be possible is with the Nintendo Directs, I really feel like there was a divide. There was an era shift for Nintendo,
Right.
where they kind of had a new identity. It's like we're not always going to present things the way that we did before. We're going to do it in our own way with our own flavor and our own spin, and they really kind of carved out this space. Going into a new generation, I think that's a really smart thing to do. And obviously, Sony has evolved tremendously over the generation, as all of the companies have. But I wonder if just aesthetically, the way that they talk about things, the way they present them, the visuals that you see on screen, just the PlayStation brand as a whole, I wonder if it will undergo a shift.
I mean,
yeah, it sounds a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
If they do that too, which sounds like a great
Cheaper-
thing. Like to do, like E3 is expensive.
Okay, but not necessarily cheaper in the sense
no,
that
not
it'll be
like
less
sense of quality.
Gotcha.
I'm just saying it, and it's like an easier thing to streamline their message. They don't have to worry about like technical hiccups, and especially like their last year's press conference, like the whole weird room switching thing, like gimmicks like that.
Right.
Like, they don't need that. I think it'd be stronger if they just didn't do anything like that.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
I really like a live show, and I really like Nintendo Directs. They're professional. You don't have to worry about technical hiccups usually. It's still live for the audience. The whole audience is experiencing it in this moment. But I go back to the E3 of Dreams, and the moment that I personally lost it was when Yu Suzuki himself walked on stage.
Right.
It was the man being there in that exact moment. It was seeing him walk out personally, not like it was a pre-recorded video of him talking, and then he came out, and that's something a Nintendo Direct or a pre-recorded thing just doesn't have. It doesn't have that impact.
I think.
But I don't necessarily think that them moving to this direction means that won't happen in the future.
True. Yeah, totally. So I'm just hoping that it's just a 1-year thing and they're going to come back. Android Frieza style, bigger, better, stronger, PS5.
Do you think
It's all building up.
the lack of Sony at E3 will say anything about the quality of E3 2019 overall? Are you less excited for E3 2019?
I mean, it's hard to. I mean, on paper, it sounds less exciting because one of the
course.
big. I think if any of like the big three are gone, it's immediately less
If
exciting.
Microsoft was gone, if Nintendo was gone, if Ubisoft was gone, I'd be, that hurts.
right.
Because there's gonna be a big open spot on the floor.
I mean, we're just getting to that awkward time between
Yes.
generations.
Yeah, so
that
it's
feels
dicey,
awkward.
And
where-
exactly,
yeah.
and I know what you're gonna say. It's like over time, I've been more open to the fact that they're not gonna be there because they just don't have it. I feel like so much
They're
of
gearing
their
up for the next thing.
exactly they're gearing up, and it's like we really don't need to see Days Gone, Death Stranding, or Ghost of Tsushima anymore. We've seen so much of those games,
And it's weird kind of to me because seeing Spider-Man at E3 this year was cool and it was exciting, but really all that mattered was getting my hands on it because at that point it was like, I know this is coming out soon. So the value in seeing, I know I'm already going to play it, and so the value in seeing it isn't that high for me personally. And I think the same is maybe kind of, I mean, there's a lot of questions we still need to answer about these games, but if it's like the same slate of games that you've trotted out before, it's just not as exciting.
When's Ghost? Because Days Gone will be out before E3.
think there's
I'm
a
not
date.
sure. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
I think
Because
it's just
Ghost is.
Yeah, Days Gone will already be out.
2019 supposedly.
So I mean, you don't even count Days Gone in that, and it's like, what would their E3 show be then? It
Right.
would be Ghosts and Death
Last of
Stranding
Us.
and Last of Us,
I do
which
have-
I am 100% so cool with not being
sure.
at a show because they just I just read something where they were like keeping details under lock and key. It was basically an article about saying how secretive that game is and how they don't want anyone to even know the plot.
Fine
Which
by
is
me.
so awesome.
Yeah.
Fine by
Totally.
me.
Like it's so I forget that game exists sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Just showed up and just quietly snuck away.
I want to talk about the next generation, though, and a fear that I have, and I think it is foolish to underestimate the ways that new technology can surprise you, because that is a losing game. That being said, I just don't feel the anticipation for the next generation that I feel like I normally have at this point. When I'm playing things like Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm just like, are you really going to show me anything that is visually so impressive that I feel like I need to run out there and buy a box?
I feel like people said that last generation a lot.
They did. They always say that. Absolutely. I do think it can be very foolish, but I still feel that way.
Right. I'm on the exact opposite end because I don't have an Xbox One X like you dudes. So I have no access to 4K Blu-rays, which to me is essential. And PS4 Pro feels like kind of a Band-Aid. This generation, it's like PS4.5. So I'm itching for PS5 because Xbox One X is a beast, and like I want to watch 4K Blu-rays. I don't want now I have to go out and buy a 4K Blu-ray player. Like I'm not going to do that. And I'm really big on watching my Avengers Infinity War on a disc. Like you just Black Friday, you got all the Harry Potters on 4K. Yeah, what a treat, dude. You get that lossless audio, you get that true 4K image.
This is aggressive must be niceness coming out.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, and that's totally valid. And I think obviously we can only speak from our perspectives, right? It's just for me that is not a factor, and so I just don't know what the like collective "you've never seen this before, nobody has this" thing will be. Not, hey, this will be exciting if you don't have it. It's like you couldn't get this before, and I to me, and maybe that's overvaluing the concept of next generation, but it's like if you're going to make me spend hundreds of more dollars, I don't want to feel like it's like you said PlayStation 4.5. I don't want it to feel like the PlayStation 4.7.
Yeah.
I want to feel
next gen.
Like everybody does. I want to feel like video games are moving to whatever that new space is.
I feel like you won't get that until like a year or two in, usually.
Right.
I've been ready, dude. I've been ready for like years for the next systems. Let's go, dude.
Yeah. So what's driving that
Just
excitement?
being able to like have games on a scope that we weren't allowed to have before. Like you could never have Spider-Man on a PS3.
Right.
It wouldn't look or feel as good as that game does. You couldn't do Witcher 3 necessarily as good as you can on everything else. Yeah. Like just the fact that it gives the designer so much more room to design something really excites me.
Absolutely. Brad, I agree with you 100%. I think just right now, and obviously we'll get it.
Because there's so many great games.
We're in the peak.
I don't have a mental reference for what that scope will be.
Sure. Yeah.
Ray tracing.
That's what excites me though too, is like not knowing what's gonna come and just all these new things that could come.
Sure.
That gets me even more hyped.
But I mean, just with each generation, you just gonna be better. It's gonna be more powerful. It's gonna look better. It's like I can't see it, but you can.
You know it will.
You know it'll just. I mean, unless some crazy thing goes wrong or some weird thing, but it's like a next new hardware.
I hear you.
Power.
I think just as we develop and as things increasingly become possible, it's not as simple to imagine what that next thing will be.
Yeah.
Like. I don't know, maybe this is just me. You guys don't seem to have this issue, but when I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and some of the interactions that I can have and the way that world feels, it's like, man, this is extremely exciting right now in this moment. I'm not getting this sense of like, need a new box.
We don't have that
rush.
We don't have that either. It's
like
I'm living in the moment while it's there, but I'm always excited for the next thing to come. Like I was looking at comparisons of Red Dead Redemption to 2, and it's like a world apart. Those games, like even just like not even on the graphical, but just the scope.
Like 8 years apart.
Yeah, exactly. It's like crazy how different those games are.
But I think that's part of the reason why I think I'm having kind of this lack of enthusiasm for the next generation is like I'm just not looking forward to potentially a year of being underwhelmed.
Exactly.
Until we get to the good stuff.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that that's going to happen. Obviously, it's just kind of analyzing, past systems.
Check it out, Ben.
Switch was not that way.
The consoles are like a pie baking in the oven.
Yeah.
And it's still going. It's like preheating the oven. You can't smell the pie being cooked yet.
Right.
Once you get that sweet aroma of like the next generation seeing something that really excites you, that you couldn't do on the consoles, you'll be
Oh,
ready
I'll
to
be
eat
there.
that pie.
I guarantee as soon as that smell like starts peeking through the cracks, I'll
like
be
when
there.
I see like a picture or like a clip of Cloud on PS5,
Yeah.
and Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm
Yeah.
like, give me that pie.
There'll be a strong
give
embrace.
me that pie.
Like I for me, it's just a 4K Blu-ray player. That's really it for me, guys. Like it upsets me.
You better hope the PS5 has one.
Yeah, like
And that makes sense.
like a like streaming is cool and fine, but like when you're talking about a true image and audio quality, nothing. It's not even comparable to a Blu-ray.
Right.
Like let alone a 4K Blu-ray.
And see, I'm just not as invested in that. I haven't watched a Blu-ray in 4K. I just it's not a priority for
dying
me.
art, man. It saddens me.
No, it's cool that
You gotta bring
it's
it
a
back
priority
like
for you.
vinyl.
Like, dude, John Wick shotgun sounds on Blu-ray,
Yeah.
dude. You can't even.
When you hear that, do you just like temporarily
Yeah.
lose all function?
Like
Just
my whole house, boom,
Yeah.
it rumbles. So good.
Let's get back to E3 though.
Okay.
Do you think E3 is going to be around in 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
What's giving you that?
I don't know. It's
Confidence.
survived through everything we've done since it's been going. Wait, it had like that really weird period though where it kind of died. I feel like, but it came back and bigger than ever. I feel like E3 will always be around though.
It already feels like it's shifted so much. Just the. I'm not against this, but just making it public was a big change.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
undergoing through a
I
lot
think
of
it'll
things.
survive in a public space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes it even more
There's-
guaranteed for me to survive.
There's so much money to be made from putting on this show.
Right.
Like I wonder if the presenters like Ubisoft and them or like Microsoft
sick
get
of
some
it.
kind of cut or something, or if it
Yeah.
just costs them money.
I think it just costs them money.
Like, do they get any kind of
the thing
ticket
is-
sales or?
I don't think they do. The thing about it is they get the most eyes on them.
Yeah, I mean, it's
throughout the
it's
whole
just
year.
their
It's
big
advertising.
ad.
Yeah.
But I have to wonder, like,
These are-
you're Ubisoft and you think about the money that you're throwing into E3,
Right.
you can think of any example. And it's like, we're Ubisoft. We've got a bunch of games to talk about. Let's just split off, create our own day and our own month,
Yeah.
which is getting increasingly harder to do, admittedly. But let's just create our own space where we can get even more attention.
Yeah.
And I just,
Yeah, just
from my
focused on them.
perspective, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
Obviously, I think there's a benefit to being part of the big collective day,
Yeah.
but maybe there's less of a benefit than you think.
Do you have this perception that, like, when I watch E3, right, you see EA doing their own thing off to the side
That's exactly what it feels like EA is doing.
because they're doing their own thing off to the side. It feels less important to me. Whereas when Microsoft and Sony come out on stage,
To be fair, I feel like EA doing anything is less exciting.
fair enough.
Like, even when EA comes out during the Sony and Microsoft thing, it feels less exciting. So,
Yeah, I hope it's around, man. Like, even if it's a reduced scale or
Yeah.
like, I just love the idea of the entire industry coming together for a week in person
Yeah.
and online, just sharing these announcements. It is an unbelievable week in video games, dude. It's everyone coming together.
yeah, absolutely. And I viewing E3 is like my favorite thing to watch every year. There's
Yeah.
nothing, there's no movie,
Right.
there's no show that
Yeah.
beats watching E3 for me. I do think from a coverage perspective, though, I get extremely frustrated. And I think you guys can relate to this.
Sure.
Where we come back to the garage and it's like, okay, now to do E3 impressions, it's like, well, we've got 60 games to talk about. Obviously, there are ones we have to cover. We're going to talk about Smash Brothers. We're going to talk about Halo or whatever the hell it is because that's what people are into. But then it's like, well, I've also got these 12 games that no one's ever heard of that I not only have to make a case for, I have to find time to talk about in a compelling way. And so it can feel swallowing E3.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating. And so sometimes I do wish maybe we could break things up in a way where it's like, all right, all the big stuff is here, all the small, like, sometimes E3 just feels like so much.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
And
It's
I
a ton.
want to, everybody's there to try to get you excited about the games. And there are things that just don't get the attention that I feel like they should have. Of course, just getting rid of E3 doesn't change that. It doesn't magically solve
Right.
it. But I do think sometimes there can just be so much of E3 that I wish it was maybe a little bit more focused.
I think it'll go more in the direction of like Gamescom, that kind of vibe. That's what it feels like to me. Just way more public involvement and stuff like that.
I've actually liked when Gamescom has felt really huge, like a second E3, or even when they use like Paris Games Week to talk about stuff and Tokyo Game Show. I do feel like maybe spreading things out a little bit.
It seems like they do that more nowadays.
Yeah, it seems like things have gotten better.
Yeah,
for sure. Talking about E3, Huber. So you mentioned Yu Suzuki coming out on stage and how emotional that moment was. Obviously, that E3 was very emotional for a lot of reasons, a lot of big things that were talked about. Does it bother you when those things don't come to fruition for years?
Not at all. I'll wait. 100% I'll wait.
Yeah.
I love the acknowledgement, you know? You're making the game. You're working on it. That's all I need to know.
Do you think it's at all a problem when those sorts of things, obviously because people want them so badly, and that makes sense, things like Shenmue 3 or Final Fantasy 7 Remake, when those get announced, they dominate the conversation without a doubt.
Yeah.
Do you think that is unfortunate to games that are coming out in the coming months or within the next year? Because it does
that's a
create an
natural,
umbrella.
of course, that's a natural byproduct of the industry. You know, some games are bigger than others.
But you're okay with that?
I have no feelings on it, I guess, because there's always going to be a big fish and a little fish in the giant ocean of video games.
Sure.
And it's just our job to cover the ones that we're passionate about.
Right.
So, you know, like you just said, 12 games no one's ever heard of at E3, coming back talking about them. Like,
right.
E3 is a great place to discover so many games you've never heard of.
Right.
Just in the back alleys and the indie sections and stuff.
It feels harder than ever now, though. Because it's public. It's harder just to walk up and play something.
Definitely.
We obviously have been big fans of shadow dropping games.
Right.
Something that I would like to see that I could maybe hope would be a byproduct of companies splitting off or doing their own thing is I want to get more games into the hands of people sooner. I want to be able to be like, hey, we've got this new game. You should be excited about it. Instead of a misleading trailer, you get a demo. You get a beta or whatever it is. And I just really feel good about that and encourage that sort of interactivity, because if we're living in an age where this digital age where things are so easily accessible, I want to take full advantage of that. I don't want it to just be hype. I want it to be hype that you can cash in on immediately.
I agree with you. I think Shenmue and Final Fantasy are such special cases.
Absolutely. You can't do it with everything.
I think of Days Gone.
Right.
And it's like, you showed this game too early.
Right.
Or something. Something went wrong.
And
it's been too long now.
I do think it helps games that would otherwise get completely swallowed. Like, we said a lot of bad things about EA, but them making Unravel 2 accessible immediately, that was a whole component that I think propped up that game in a perfect way.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. It doesn't have to be large scale. Of course, you're not going to get a Final Fantasy 7 Remake demo.
Yeah.
But using that opportunity of this digital age to take advantage of it and maybe give things a little bit more attention would be cool.
Definitely. More shadow drops at E3.
More shadow drops.
Or more
really,
like
this whole thing was a great
more hard release dates.
As we talk about E3, another thing that I want to throw at you is the use of celebrities or maybe people that aren't traditionally associated with games, or even if they are traditionally associated with games, getting these outside people to host things or to create an excitement. Like, how do you feel about that?
Sick of it. I only want to hear people talk that A, are affiliated with the game in any capacity, or B, passionate about said game. Period. Period. I don't need anyone else, dude. I don't need Jamie Foxx coming out telling me about Battlefield. Like, is Jamie Foxx like a hardcore Battlefield player? It sure didn't sound like it during that thing, But if, a celebrity comes out and they're like, a lot of celebrities are obsessed with World of Warcraft, for example. Like, sure, if a celebrity comes out and they're obsessed with like DPSing and WoW, I'll hear what they have to say. Sure.
Right.
But like getting a celebrity to come out just because they're a celebrity to host and talk about this thing, it's never worked for me.
It makes
personally.
it feel inauthentic.
It very, very.
And then you have this grudge against the game that's not even the game's fault.
Yeah.
It's just like obviously it's all a product. It's all an advertisement.
Yeah, it's just big business vibe.
But it's a product and an advertisement that you care about, and you'd like to see that level of respect reflected back.
Yeah. Like, instead of a celebrity, I'd rather hear, like, a QA tester even,
Yeah,
or like
absolutely.
anyone who's worked on the game.
Think about, again, the Unravel guy coming out and talking about the game. And I know that has gotten some pushback, too, of people thinking they're overly emotional or whatever. But to me, that is much more effective than being like, I don't know, I'm paid to be here.
Yeah.
Right.
Cracking jokes.
Yeah. Cracking bad jokes.
Yeah.
If you can't do the joke, don't do the joke.
Don't do the
Yeah.
Don't force the joke.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like not into the thing of making it like a show.
Yeah.
Either I'm just like sick of that, man. Like
Yeah.
making it an event. I'm just like, eh.
And I do think that is something, for the most part, that Nintendo Directs have done super well.
Right.
Where
Business.
you have people that are entrenched
Associated.
in what they're doing, talking about it and presenting it in a way that feels both professional and lighthearted. You know, sometimes it doesn't work for everybody, but I do think they've been fairly consistent in that regard.
Definitely.
So,
Nintendo Directs. I
Nintendo
still
Directs.
miss, though, like, Miyamoto on stage and stuff. I
Yeah.
miss that
After that
stuff.
Skyward Sword debacle,
Right.
I
It's
don't know
just-
if he's willing to do that anymore.
It's just one of those things.
Wii music.
It's one
A
of those
lot of memes from that. A lot of classic
It's
memes.
Classic. It's one of those things where, like, 100%, I get it. I get that it's expensive. I understand. You could just record a package, 45-minute video, nice and tight and neat, and throw it on the internet, and you just saved millions of dollars. But then you're just missing on the spectacle, you know, the hugeness of the moment, you know,
Yeah.
announcing Assassin's Creed. Well, bad example because they can't plug their damn leaks, but announcing God of War with a live orchestra, revealing it
Absolutely.
live in that moment is better than like, and here's a first look at a world premiere.
I think what you're speaking to in
You
live
know?
performances is super spot on, Huber. I just struggle, and I think of like so many Nintendo press conferences that weren't even memeable. They were just kind of bad.
Yeah.
And so I run into the situation where it's like, yeah, at their absolute best, I would rather have a live show, but I'd rather have a good Nintendo Direct over a bad press conference.
Yeah, I just don't know if they
Well
even
said.
like think it's worth it anymore, Huber. Because like,
Yeah.
look at Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
Just released a trailer and it blew up.
Totally.
It's
What
like
is it
It's
at,
a new
like,
era, man.
yeah,
Is
it's
it
like I don't know if
10
that
million
matters
or
as much
something?
anymore.
Yeah.
10 million.
Yeah, it's just like
And like
the drop
dwarf
trailers.
it's probably more than that. I don't know what it is, but like dwarfing the Toy Story 4 review.
yeah.
It's funny.
Keanu Reeves is in Toy Story 4.
Is he really?
Whoa.
Yes.
All right.
Praise it.
All right.
Praise it.
That's pretty
Whoa,
good.
whoa,
That's
scoops,
pretty
scoops.
Praise it, son.
good. You guys ready for some emails?
Yes.
Let's do it. I'm ready for E3.
You ready for
With
Yeah,
or
we-
without
we
Sony,
got
dude.
time.
Hell or high water.
We got
Let's
time.
go.
First email comes in from Jared. He says, which stock are you which stock are you buying in 2019? I love that. Hello, allies. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving holiday. Thank you, Jared. Not that long ago, I bought some literal stock in a gaming publisher, and it made me wonder, as we head into 2019, which stock would you most want to put your imaginary money into? This can be a publisher, like a 2K, or it can even be a specific studio. Conversely, which stock would you sell right now if you could? Why did you choose these two companies to buy and sell? I'd love to hear your thoughts as we get to the end of the year and start the final stretch of this current generation of consoles. Great email, Jared.
I would sell EA. Sell it. Get it out.
Okay.
I would buy Nintendo.
Nintendo stock. Okay.
Especially right now, dude. Smash about to blow up.
Yeah, that's fair. I would buy a lot of Capcom.
Nice.
I would sell all of Bethesda.
Yeah. I think that's what Bethesda right now.
Sure.
I
sure.
would buy a ton of From Software
Oh.
just for goodwill. Just for good vibes, dude.
Well, no, I think buying in on that Sekiro hype is
Yeah,
is a good
man. I
idea.
think about that for Sony too. Like, you think about what would have shown up at Sony, you know, Resident Evil 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, Sekiro, Days Gone. All of those games will be out before E3. Mm-hmm. It's pretty wild to think about.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
pretty wild to think about.
All these huge studios have just released huge games. You know, Rockstar, Sony Santa Monica.
I am so grateful for the shift, though, because growing up, it really felt like video games pretty much just happen during the holidays. Obviously, that's not
Yeah, that's what
exactly
it felt
true,
like.
But man, the way that we just have good stuff all throughout the year.
Yeah.
Yes.
It rules.
Yes. Any other stocks we'd like to buy or sell?
I'm gonna buy Capcom with you as well.
Nice. Okay. So you're on board with that.
Yeah. Joint venture.
Joint
Let's
venture.
go all in, dude.
I always like juggle with doing Activision Blizzard, like buying in on that,
Yeah.
and I never know. Good. Call of Duty, good. Always making money. But it's like, I don't know. Diablo Immortal.
Did you guys see?
I don't know.
Sales numbers October.
For
Who won? MPDs.
Yeah, it was Call of Duty, right?
Call of Duty beat Red Dead.
Well,
it
'cause
had
it
some
had more
extra. It had
time.
like an extra week or two,
Yeah.
but still,
Yeah,
it's,
that's huge. Oh yeah, I mean it's a juggernaut.
it's
Still.
crazy.
for 2 generations.
God,
Yeah, just blowing up
For-
forever.
ever, dude.
Yeah, forever. The unstoppable.
I was playing Black Ops 4 on Thanksgiving, and I was having fun,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm just gonna buy this every year, aren't I?
Yeah.
Every year I'm just gonna buy this.
Yeah.
Just because I'm supposed to. It's
Yeah.
The year that you go into the ground, you will have bought and played Call of Duty.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
You know, one that I think I would consider buying? I feel good about Microsoft going into the next generation.
Oh.
I would
Yeah,
take a
dude.
risk on Microsoft.
I would too. Next year, next year is their year to win.
It is their year.
Like if Sony pulled out and then they were like tweeting, hey, see everyone at E3 hyping it up.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they got to do, man, with Obsidian or Ninja Theory or whoever it is,
Yep.
you get some heavy freaking hitters for E3 and you dominate.
I feel like Phil Spencer is just playing a hologram chess game in the dark right now.
Yeah. I think they
Pulling
need
out of E3.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think
Sony.
they need some like new announcements though. Like
Yeah.
Halo's got to be huge.
Yeah, I agree.
Gears like I don't like
I do think
Obsidian,
it's a
dude.
risk. Yeah.
I'm ready for
Yeah,
Obsidian.
Obsidian if they got something ready to show. I don't know how many of these studios have stuff to show yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty
They
seems
got
early.
7 months.
Yeah. I mean, they could have a prototype or something.
Dude, I love Prototype. 1 and 2. Bring it back. Sorry.
No, that's not what I expected. I think we were going to say I love prototypes, and then I'm like, no, he's talking about.
Did you guys play Prototype 2?
No.
I did not.
Dude, Prototype
I didn't play prototype.
play
1 or
any
2.
of them.
Yeah.
Dude, Prototype 1 is swimming in sevens. Prototype 2 is so sick.
How
Is that a
sick.
surfing on 7?
It's an 8. At least. Yeah. Prototype 2 is
That's like
really
hang 10 on the board.
Yeah.
good. 10, Prototype.
Our next email comes in from He. He says, "Greeting, allies. Your recent discussion on pre-ordering reminded me of a promotion I used to use to pre-order games. A few years back, Best Buy Canada had a 30% off pre-order for any games that were announced during the week of E3.
Whoa.
That's amazing.
Dude.
I abused the hell out of this deal.
Yeah.
I still know people that have pre-ordered Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3 for only $40 to $50. Consider that Canadian games went from $60 to $80 due to inflation.
Oh, woof.
My question is, did you use any tactics or abuse any promotion to get a good game for cheap? Do you remember any deals that still give you good vibes? Thank you for all the hard work, allies, and have a great Thanksgiving and a safe Black Friday. He from the unofficial EZA Discord.
Brad Ellis was the Amazon man.
Yeah, I used to buy all my stuff on Amazon when
Yeah.
they have the deals. I do that with Best Buy right now until it goes away. But oh yeah.
I do movie deals first week of Blu-ray movies at Target and Best Buy.
Oh yeah,
Are cheaper.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I do. When I really want a
I
movie.
didn't know that.
That's why
First
it's
week.
the best, dude, because unlike video games, you get rewarded for getting
An early adopter.
early adopter, dude. It's
Like, I think final year of college or maybe like just after college, I used Green Man Gaming a lot.
Oh my god.
They
yeah.
would have like
PC
huge
gaming.
discounts on.
Save
They would
it all.
like give you a Steam code. Use that. I haven't used it in forever.
Yeah.
But I used to use that quite a bit. Don't know if there are any deals that I feel fondly about. I don't know. Like have an affection towards.
I like the idea of like Black Friday bundles, like console bundles or something. Like the Spider-Man and like PS4 for $200, like that rules.
yeah, the Metal Gear Solid 4 bundle was my favorite thing I ever
Yeah.
bought. That was my favorite deal. But actually, like like the most bang for my buck that I've ever got has been PS Plus every year
Sure.
on Black Friday.
Yeah, 40.
$40 instead of 60. It's a huge saving.
Yeah, $20.
You know,
Yeah,
33% off. So every time that deal rolls around, I re-up a year.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
I hate to do it. It still feels like,
I usually
IS Plus, $40, but like, dude, compared to 60,
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, whenever Assassin's Creed comes out, I like always try to wait because I'm like, oh, it'll be
Black Friday.
guaranteed on
Every
sale on
time.
Black
Every
Friday.
time, yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, and like having not finished Odyssey yet, I totally should have waited.
Yeah.
Just that.
We just get
the
caught up in the
pre-release-
hype.
Absolutely.
We
yeah.
always get caught up in the
Absolutely
hype.
caught up in the hype.
Odyssey.
Just got $15 credit in
Me
Steam
too.
on
I got
PlayStation.
that.
Yeah.
I always like that. I also really am a big fan of the Nintendo coin system. It's like
Oh, sure.
just because it's like, okay, I buy a lot of games. Thank you for like not making that completely
Irrelevant.
irrelevant. Not irrelevant. I don't know. Just thank you for rewarding that, I guess.
Thanks.
Totally.
Thanks for the bonus.
I'm going to do it anyway. Last email
Okay.
comes
Let's
in
go.
from Brandon. He says, hey, everyone. Recently, I was able to finally watch a full playthrough I've been waiting on for quite some time. Courtesy of Mr. Damiani, I have now finally seen Resident Evil 4 from beginning to end.
Oh.
While the game is indeed one of the greats, there is one thing I noticed over the entire 13-hour duration. The aiming seemed very precise, but it takes time to acclimate to the red dot of the laser sight needing practice handling. While this was a surprise, what really stuck out to me was the enemy behavior. The villagers and eventually other enemies would run toward Leon, then inexplicably slowed down. To me, this seemed like this was done in the favor of the control scheme, as opposed to having terrifying enemies who don't just stop charging for no reason. This made me ask why. So I'll turn the question on to you. Do you think a game should be built around its control scheme, or should controls be established after creating enemies, environments, etc.? Thanks for taking my question. If you do, and stay easy, fellow allies.
Should the control system be built first? Is that what he's asking?
He's asking, the ultimate question here is, should the game be built around its control scheme, or should you kind of design like, okay, this is what we're going for, these are the enemies, this is the way we want you to feel, and then work on the controls?
For me, I would try to do both if that's even possible at the same time to really complement one another. I don't know what necessarily the development like of games is going through the steps. I think for me, it would be like having a concept idea of what you want an enemy to do and how the player would react to it.
Right.
I guess then.
I don't think there's a right answer.
Right.
I mean, when you're
comes
making
up.
something, it just depends on what the process is, who you're working with,
Right.
what the ultimate goals of the thing are. Obviously, different games are going for different things. I will say though, I do think controls are the most fundamental thing to nail. So like in Resident Evil 4, like yes, that is a concession that you make, but that game does so many other things to still give you a sense of horror and fear and tension. I don't know how you could play through Resident Evil 4 and not have that sense. Right? The Las Plagas are a great example of that. The way that enemies swarm you, the environments that they put you in. And so it's like, oh, it's nice that they actually also make it fun to shoot them.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like it's kind of making one sacrifice in another area and then filling in.
And the chainsaw dudes, they don't stop.
No.
They don't stop there. They
No.
keep coming, man.
And they're not all the time.
And they're not
so
all
it
the
makes
time.
them feel special.
And like
Yeah.
the dude with the claws, whatever. Like
Yep. Wolverine people.
when he hears you, dude, he's coming for you.
Wolverine people. God, they're the best.
Wolverine people.
Because
forget
if your
their name.
game doesn't,
Sorry.
if your game is a pain in the butt to control, it's hard to enjoy any other aspect of it.
Definitely.
Like it's
It
just
could
the
take
most
away
fundamental
moments.
thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Fallout 76 comes to mind.
Sure.
I'm
Like,
not
I mean-
going to say Red Dead 2.
Yeah, I was going to say that comes to mind for a lot of people, probably.
Man, I don't know if this is the time to discuss it, and we'll talk about it at the end of the year. But I do think there is plenty of fair criticism to levy at the controls of Red Dead.
Sure.
However,
Sure.
having played more of it, I'm struggling way less, and I
Yeah.
don't feel like it's interrupting my enjoyment of the game in the way that I thought it maybe would at the
Yeah.
beginning.
That first house you go in and you're like, when they're like, search the house.
Yeah.
The very first one.
Yeah, it feels like you're a baby learning to walk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. Like
it does.
opening the cupboard.
It does.
But then like a couple hours later,
Yeah.
man, it's...
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I am... Before, I'd be like, oh man, I ran my horse into that thing and that sucked or that felt weird or I feel like I'm being overly punished for simple mistakes. But now, no problem getting anywhere.
Yeah.
No problem shooting things. I still think the shooting is mediocre, which is a whole nother thing.
Sure.
But in terms of like actually getting things to function, it's fine.
Mediocre.
I think the shooting is mediocre. I do.
So on a 1 to 10 scale, you'd give the shooting a 7 out
No.
of 10?
No,
No,
I give like a
6.
5.
5 or a 6, yeah.
5 or a
for
6.
the shooting. Yeah. I think it is functional. I think it is fine. I don't think it is great. By any stretch.
Sure.
The thing I have the problem with is just the snap. It's like too much.
Right.
I'm relying on the snap too much. That's like my complaint with it.
I just feel like the way that a lot of fights are structured, and Kyle brought this up, and I do think he's right, where it's like, okay, hunker down. The enemies are going to respond in a very predictable way. They're going to pop up, you shoot them. It
Shooting gallery.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you know, you come down hard on that, and like it's not that I don't care, but for this huge criticism for me saying that the shooting is mediocre, I'm having a wonderful time with Red Dead Redemption 2 because I don't feel like everything is relying on the shooting. I feel like the shooting is one part of a much bigger whole. And so it's like kind of what we talked about before with Bethesda games. It's like not everything needs to be best in class.
Yeah.
You don't need the best in class shooting for an amazing video game. You need to have the sum of its parts add up to something great, and I think that's what Red Dead does. I think that's what matters more than anything, because it's going for so many different things, in my opinion. But yeah. Any other thoughts about games being designed around controls, or controls appealing to the design?
I'm just curious about the thing you said about boss with Red Dead, like enemies like being predictable or something like that. Is that what he was saying? Like spawning areas?
He was saying it was like whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like every shooting game pretty much. Unless like you're a Doom where you're like actively running around the environment like in a certain area, yeah. It's like when you're playing Call of Duty, it's like that. When you're playing Destiny, it's like that.
Yeah, when you're playing, well,
like
specifically Call of Duty campaigns, yes,
right, but I'm saying like when in Destiny, like the enemies are like whoop, out there popping out
Bossman
like in a boss fight.
Yeah.
Bossman's super big on scenarios, so I think that's where he's coming from. Of like so many missions in Red Dead, you'll either come to a base, everyone will hunker down, or like people will just like flood out.
I don't know if I agree with you, even in all of these comparisons though, because like Destiny, there's a fluidity to it. I feel like when I get into
you're moving.
There's a sense of speed and jumping and shooting, and like everything controls well enough to support that mobility.
Yeah, but think about like a boss fight with like enemies coming out. Like it doesn't even matter.
You're dealing with like at that point you're dealing with MMO mechanics, which is a whole nother layer that you wouldn't get into with Red Dead.
I mean, it's enemies spawning in a room.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's perfect in every example. I'm just saying there are qualities that you can get into in a Destiny fight that I have not yet seen.
Sure. I mean, yeah, they're completely different games.
Right. I'm just saying, like,
I was just going back to the point of like
is
Kyle talking about like enemies kind of being like a whack-a-mole thing.
Right.
It's like, well, that's what a lot of shooters are.
Sure. But I wouldn't describe Red Dead Redemption 2 as a shooter.
Oh,
It's
I know.
like-
I know what you're saying. I'm just talking about like one specific moment of it.
And like, even though the act of like lining up a shot and firing the trigger is not the best thing in the world, the cinematic kills, like you've described, I think are a nice touch. The situation that you're in, I think, can be really exciting. Jumping on a train and punching out a dude feels great.
For me, it's weird because like I don't like shooters on consoles. Period. Like I think it's always bad shooting on like Destiny was the closest I think it was for me.
Yeah.
Like where I was like, oh, this is really good. So like when Red Dead's like when I'm struggling to shoot, it's not is like jarring to me. Where I'm like, oh, because like I don't have the context of a ton of other shooters, I guess, on console.
Dude,
what do you want to say?
Uncharted 4.
What about it?
It's perfection.
I don't think it's perfection.
The shooting is perfect.
I don't think so.
Something I will say about Uncharted 4.
I really think it's perfect.
I think it's
really
good.
And again,
like I wouldn't change a pixel of
when
the
I
shooting.
have so like when I'm struggling for like a certain thing or like there's a second where like something's off, Huber, that's not perfection to me.
What's off?
It's like the movement of moving like the crosshair with analog sticks for me is not as smooth as when I'm using a mouse and keyboard.
Sure, I guess like with like the fine tuning.
That's
and,
what
like,
I'm talking about.
The
Like,
pinpoint, but like
that's what I'm talking about.
But Uncharted 4 is designed in a way where you don't need it to be as precise as a mouse and keyboard.
Sure.
It's precise for a controller.
I'm just saying it would be even better.
you were talking about scenarios though, and there are plenty of like I think of like Lost Legacy, where you get into a situation and it's like, okay, I see them before they see me. How am I going to get in there? And then, of course, you stealth, you get found, and it kind of turns into this chaos. And it's like, there's a helicopter overhead, so I have to constantly be on the move because it can reach me at points where I'm not going to be. They're throwing grenades. They've got rockets. They're perched up above me. And so I feel like in that combat encounter, there's a lot going on. Whereas in Red Dead, a lot of times I feel like it's like, I am at this point. Yeah. There is, a stadium of guys curved around in the 100%. Background, 100%. And it's just not as dynamic or interesting.
We talk about the level design. I think Uncharted like makes up for that, and like the encounters it designs when it lays out like multiple levels, like swinging through stuff gives you a lot of like. That's where I think that Uncharted shines in that category.
Yeah, but then you would call Uncharted an action game. Right?
I would call Uncharted an action game. Yeah. But yeah, we'll there'll be plenty more conversations exactly like this.
Yes.
For Game of the Year.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna get crazy.
And like,
I'm so excited.
The thing is people will be like, "Oh, you said this thing about this game," and it's like, well, I bet you, my opinion will continue to change about Red Dead. Over time, like the way I felt at the beginning.
I think all of ours kind of did. Like mine certainly did.
Yeah. So I imagine.
Dude,
I don't know.
Isn't online supposed to be out?
What'll happen?
Like,
or how much I'll be
I don't know. We
for
asked Brandon, dude. He should know.
They said end of November.
Oh, we got like a week left or something, or about a week.
Rockstar does things when Rockstar wants.
This is true.
I'm so intrigued by that.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you to Bradley Ellis and Michael Huber for joining me on this Frame Trap.
Yeah.
Hope you guys had a good time.
Yeah, man.
Audience, I hope you enjoyed the conversations. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I hope you're enjoying your holiday with some video games. If you would like to send an email into askeasyallies@gmail.com, that is the email address. Send an email into askeasyallies@gmail.com. I will take a look over it, and you have a chance of appearing on the show. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.